best toys and took us to the best places and with whom we always had the most fun. It was odd, though, when we got older, to realize he wasn't nearly as outgoing and adventurous with other adults. I found out much later that this might have had something to do with the ostomy bag he wore ever since he was diagnosed with Crohn's disease as a teenager and had part of his lower intestine removed. Theodor Skolnick, my Uncle Ted, died last year at the age of 80, never having once mentioned his illness to me or my brothers. He left a large bequest to the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation to help fund better treatments for these diseases and also to help other people, old and young, seek and get help for the situation that he was never able to talk about. Don't feel you need to hide your Crohn's or colitis. Go to spillyourguts.org to learn more about the treatments available and even find a specialist. That's spillyourguts.org.
When I was in Iraq, our convoy was hit. It was bad. After I came home, I could still hear booms and see tracer fire. Makes it hard to be a good mom.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
I'm Naomi Mathis, Air Force veteran.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories great and small.
With help from DAV, I was able to begin to heal.
DAV provides a lifetime of support to veterans of every generation, helping more than 1 million veterans each year.
Today I'm part of DAV. We're veterans helping veterans to get the benefits they've earned. And I give my veterans my all.
But there's more to be done, more victories to be won.
My victory is being able to be here for my children.
Naomi Mathis, thank you for your service. May your victories inspire many more. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to real sports talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. We are Sports 56 WHBQ and W253 Indianapolis, Flint Broadcasting Stations. It's time to get up and get your day started. Morant. Oh! A jawbreaker! It's Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sports 56 Mornings is brought to you by the Big Green Egg. Now, here are your hosts, Greg and Eli.
I don't know about you, but for me, it's always tough to get up early right after a holiday weekend, as we got a chance to enjoy Monday, most of us with the day off, including us here on Sports 56. But we're back and ready to rock and roll with a lot to get to this morning as we welcome you into Sports 56 Mornings on this Tuesday, September 3rd, 2024. Welcome to September. Hope you all had a fantastic weekend. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Zach Boyd with you. The usual cast of characters from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together. The world's biggest spa sale continues. So if you haven't had a chance to get on over there, they got the sale still going on. 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. And the first hour of the program is brought to you by the Big Green Egg. Currently 67 degrees, and we'll get up to 88 today. Partly cloudy skies. Tonight, cloudy with a low of 73 with a slight chance of rain. And looks like there could be some precipitation tomorrow for your Wednesday with a high of 81 degrees. Coming up on the program today, plenty of college football talk. Barrett Sallee, who normally joins us on Mondays, will join us at 8:25 today, since there was no show tomorrow. And Blake Topmeyer begins another stint with us. He'll be on every other Tuesday, opposite of Connor O'Gara. He'll join us from the USA Today Network to talk college football as Week 1 is complete. We had games Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and another game last night. We'll talk Tigers, we'll talk Ole Miss and Tennessee, Arkansas, Mississippi State, all the action from the SEC and around the nation. The NFL kicks off another season on Thursday with a solo game, then Friday's the game in Brazil. We will have our NFL predictions tomorrow, so getting ready for Week 1 of the National Football League. Also, Memphis basketball news From the PGA Tour, Scotty Scheffler wraps up an unbelievable season. And bad news for the Grizzlies already before camp even opens up with an injury to one of their young studs. We will talk about all those topics and much, much more on the program today. And, of course, you can be a part of the show. Hit us up on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines by calling in or texting it at 901-360-8255. That is your lineup for this Tuesday edition of Sports 56 Mornings. How are you?
I'm good.
Good weekend?
Yeah, it was a good weekend. Friday, I did not get off to a good start Friday night with the weather issues with high school football around the area. So that kind of threw a wrench into the plans. But nonetheless, even though it didn't get a game Friday night out at Christian Brothers High School, the rest of the weekend was good. Saturday, I spent 12 hours in front of multiple TVs watching football. So can't go wrong with that.
And some of those games on Friday that were canceled will not be made up. Other games were made up on Saturday, still others scheduled for another time during the season. We'll get the whole lowdown, of course, on Friday when John joins us, John Varlas. But, yeah, I was trying to keep up with JV on Twitter and other people and just back and forth. You know, this game is delayed another hour and a half, and if it doesn't kick off by this time, it won't be played, but they'll make it up on Saturday or they won't make it up. So one of those rough weathered nights, and we had not had a lot of rain in the last several weeks, so it's just a shame that it happened and kind of spoiled Friday night high school football. Zach, how was your weekend, my friend? What you do?
Weekend was my normal weekend, but it's just an extra day, so I can't complain about it.
Extra day of hard work. You know, you're always working.
Actually, not really. I actually had time to just kind of just sit down or lay down somewhere and just like not move.
And kick it.
So.
Good. And sometimes they're the best days, right? When you have a day off just to kick back and relax.
Can I kick it?
You can kick it
yes,
if you want.
You
can kick it. You don't want to kick the bucket, though.
That commercial drives me insane because it's every 3 minutes.
Which one?
Can I kick it?
Yes, she can.
Oh,
the one where they can't. The kid's in a different language. He's a different.
Yeah.
Is that the one we're talking about?
Yeah.
And with your phone, you can translate it into that language.
I still don't understand why he says, "Can I kick it?" Why don't he just say, "Can I play the first time?" I don't understand why he says, "Say, can I kick it?"
Oh, yeah.
Well, kick it has a double meaning.
It drives me.
Kick it like just hang around, or kick it physically. Kick it
every freaking break. It seems like. Oh.
Yeah, it was a lot of it. Now, I start off on. Was it Sunday? Not start off, so I've already watched a ton of football. Of course, I worked the Tiger game on Saturday night. But then on Sunday, there's one game. And on Monday, there's one game. And I just want to relax and watch the game. And lo and behold, DirecTV and Disney, which owns ESPN, have a little fight. Maybe it's a big fight. And about 30 minutes before the game is ready to kick, I realize I don't have it. So I'm not happy with that. And then people say, well, you got to go this, you got to do that. Well, everything we have is all bundled up. It's all screwed up. And then if you try to fix it, you got to talk to somebody in Indonesia, with all due respect to Indonesians. I just, well, you like to survey? No. Can you give me your manager? Can you give me somebody who's... I'm so tired of going through that crap. So I stick with DirecTV. Now, I didn't realize, so I have ESPN Plus. I still couldn't get it. I couldn't figure it out last night for the Monday night game. And then, luckily, coming to my rescue, Sean McKeel direct messages me and tells me you can go onto YouTube. So I went onto YouTube for the second half and watched the second half of the game. And this just in, Florida State looked the same as they did in the first half. So I didn't really miss much as far as that's concerned. But that irks me. I know it irked a lot of people with the whole DirecTV Disney thing. Get it straightened out. Fix the darn thing. So that kind of bummed me. But Saturday, before I went to the Tiger game, watched the early action starting with Georgia and Clemson. So we got a lot to get into today, wrapping up a bunch of the college football games from the weekend, starting with that Memphis game, in which the Tigers took care of business as expected. They played North Alabama, overmatched North Alabama, and won 40-0. They had beaten this team 59-0 in 2022. Of course, not all the same cast of characters. 28th straight game for the Tigers with 20 or more points. That's the longest streak in the nation. Seth Hennigan, 22 of 30, 308 yards, 2 touchdowns. Another ho-hum 300-yard game for him, although he wasn't completely satisfied after the game when we talked to him. 81st passing touchdown, that second touchdown of the game for him, ties him with Danny Wimprine, friend of the show, for second most in Memphis Tigers history. Mario Anderson makes his debut. 10 carries, 46 yards, 2 touchdowns. The defense was great. 3 turnovers they forced. The offense converted all 3 into touchdowns. They had 3 sacks. They had 8 tackles for loss. But again, you got to look at the level of the competition. They played well, and they expected to play well. And unlike last year in the opener against Bethune-Cookman when they made some mistakes, they didn't make mistakes, and they pitched the shutout. But Eli, there's a couple of things that's negative about what happened. Number 1, Sutton Smith goes down with the injury. We will find out maybe today when an MRI takes place, but it doesn't look good. I was right there when the injury happened, and it looks like it's his right knee, and they may lose Sutton Smith, more than likely will lose Sutton Smith for the year. And then you couple that with Troy, their opponent this Saturday. They lost this past weekend. And then, of course, the debacle that's happening in Tallahassee with Florida State losing twice already to Georgia Tech and to Boston College. That is the worst-case scenario for Memphis. It's the worst case. Now, you win, okay, everything's cool. But if you lose, you lost to what people will say is a mediocre Florida State team. If you win, you won't get as much credit as you would have gotten before. But you really have to win now. And it's a game I thought going into the season that they would lose. Now you look at it and go, I think they should win. But it's the situation you hope you weren't in. You hoped that Florida State was 2-0, they were cooking, and you went in there and upset them, and everything was right in the world. But now you have your next 2 opponents that have not yet won a game combined between them this year. So that's the negative. The Sutton Smith injury is the real negative, but everything else was a positive on Saturday.
Yeah, the Sutton Smith injury, that's certainly very unfortunate, and you hate to see that for anybody. I mean, I can't imagine all the preparation, everything you do for a season, get ready, and then you go in there and, 4 carries in, 3 carries in, or whatever. In all likelihood, your season's done. That's just awful. Feel awful for him. And it's a big loss, obviously, for the Tigers. Yeah, I don't know what you could take out of this game, or really, I mean, this. I get it. Yeah, this week again proves even more. They should just let football teams play exhibitions so that teams don't have to play their exhibition in week 1. There were 30 teams that did not score a touchdown this week. 13 shutouts. Like these aren't like the FCS opponents. Like it's not even worth these. I mean, when you're looking at 76-0 and 70-0. It's just ridiculous that like this is what we call week 1 of the college football season.
And that's cutting down some of those games, cutting down the 15-minute time allotment for the quarter to 12 minutes. Have a running. Well, they don't have a running clock, but they cut down the.
I mean, Ole Miss could have scored 120.
Easy. Tennessee could have done the same thing.
They all could have scored whatever they want to score. Like it's just literally just. Name your number. Like there's no chance of the other team stopping you.
Listen to this. This is from Pete Futak. The FBS is 60-1 versus the FCS. The total score 2,620 to 705. And again, that's pulling off the dogs. Average score 43.77 to 11.56. Montana State, the only win, that was the comeback win over New Mexico on that Thursday night of this opening week. So, and next week, this upcoming week, even though there's a lot more FBS versus FBS games, there are still a number of FBS versus FCS games. I know the FCS makes their money by playing these games to help support their program. I don't care. They need to dump these.
To me, they
need to figure out something. Like you said, maybe an exhibition.
You could play the FCS opponent in an exhibition game. Everybody gets one exhibition game, but you can't play FCS opponents on your schedule. Like that to me, on your regular schedule.
Right. I agree.
It's just, again, Now, granted, there were some FBS versus FBF games.
Right,
games
right.
Were,
There were some
mismatches.
good performances.
There were just
Yes.
complete mismatches as well. But
there were also good performances from some FCS teams, but very, very few.
But I don't know what we're getting out of 70-0 games.
I'm with you.
And that type of stuff in week one of the season. And Tigers, I don't know what to take out of any of this. Like, okay, so they shut out North Alabama. A North Alabama team was not very good to begin with, and then they find out just before the game that they're like one good running back's not playing either. So, can you say that it was a good performance by defense? I don't know. I don't know. That North Alabama was going to score against anybody.
North Alabama lost more than just the running back. There were several starters that they told Wolo when he went over and talked to their play-by-play announcer that was not going to play. So they didn't have their full allotment. Doesn't take anything away from the Tigers. The Tigers did their job. They didn't turn the ball over. They weren't fumbling the ball and throwing picks and all that. So it was good. But you're right. You can't just look at that and go, wow, Memphis is going undefeated. You can't do that for any team around the nation in these matchups. Look, and we'll get to Arkansas and Mississippi State. Does that anybody now have a change of opinion that they think all of a sudden now Arkansas and Mississippi State are actually going to battle for the top of the SEC because they blew out FCS opponents by 1,000? No. Reality has to settle in. For a lot of people, it doesn't. If you're on social media, reality is out the window. I mean, people think the first drive of the game will determine how that team plays the rest of the season. But Troy did lose to Nevada, the Nevada team that folded tent against SMU in Reno in week 0. But it's a decent team, Nevada, but Troy lost to them. Troy coming off 2 magnificent years under John Summerall, but Summerall's moved on to Tulane. So it's a new head coach. It's a new regime. They still got talent. 11 a.m. this Saturday. Memphis has been installed as an 18-point favorite with the over-under at 57.5. But again, the Sutton Smith news makes a deep running back room all of a sudden a little bit thinner, maybe even a lot thinner. So Greg DeWosier, get used to that name because he's going to get a lot of totes. Mario Anderson wasn't brought in to touch the ball 50 times a game. He was going to share the load with Sutton Smith. Now he's going to be getting a lot more touches, but somebody's going to have to come in and spell him. And DeWosier seems like he's a candidate. Brandon Thomas is as well, but he also got hurt and continues to deal with injuries throughout his career. It's been an injury-plagued career. We even saw a freshman come in at the end of the game for Memphis. So that's something to keep an eye on. But offensive linemen, there were some mistakes, but for the most part, pretty good job. They got 3 new starters on the O-line. Defensively, I think they're really deep. They're really deep. And that's why I think Memphis will have games in which last year went down to the wire that perhaps won't go down to the wire, where they won't have to pull one out of their hat in the last minute of a game. That defense, and Jordan Hankins, so far so good for him as the defensive coordinator with what he did with his defensive unit in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl game against Iowa State and now in this one against North Alabama. But you're right, Eli. You can't look at this and go, oh, yeah, 1, it's a finished product. 2, it means they're going to never lose a game. And we'll get to the whole Florida State situation because don't count your chickens that automatically they beat Florida State because Florida State lost their first 2 games. But now, again, they're going to be expected to win to some degree. And if they lose, it's not going to be a bad loss. You're losing on the road, but people won't look at it the same as if Florida State was 2-0. So that doesn't help the cause. And a lot of that is going to be, if it comes down to the wire, those eyeballs of those committee members between those walls deciding who's going to be where in the final standings as far as the conference champion. If Memphis wins, if Boise State wins, whoever comes out of it from the Sun Belt. They're going to look at all that stuff. But first things first, and that's Troy for the Memphis Tigers this week. As far as the atmosphere, I thought it was very good. I guessed about mid-20s. They announced 25 and change. I think it's legit. 32 is what they say, or approximately 32 is what they hold with the big hole. The Liberty Hole, as they like to say. They have the makeshift lights on the west side. I thought it looked great. I thought the crowd was into it. I thought the kids, the students, it's the most students I think I've ever seen at a Tiger football game. So that was good. And hopefully that will continue to grow, and they'll get 32, and they'll be able to sell out for these football games. I know people were complaining again about the turnstiles. Look, do yourself a favor and go into the damn game a little early. I know you want to tailgate to the very last second, but this just in. You're not going to get in right away. It's not going to happen. Everybody's coming in at the same time. Yes, they could use more people helping out at the turnstiles. I understand that. Ed Scott understands that, the new AD. But we have these situations every single year. Don't wait to the last second to go into the damn stadium. That goes across the board, whether it's Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium or any other stadium around the country. Don't wait.
Well, if you want to wait. But you have to understand that you're not going to. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of people going at once,
right?
And especially with this being the first game where you had a big giant hole in the stadium and things like that. I mean, there were things they had to figure out and work on. Like I'm sure there were some things that they didn't realize or may have not expected or whatever. I did think they did a nice job of with the little background over there and kind of in front of the hole and everything else. They made it look nice.
I thought so.
They did a nice job of jazzing it up a little bit so it doesn't, on TV, everything else, it still looks weird, obviously, when you're just looking out of the stadium, but I thought they did a nice job of kind of making it look good.
Yes, and you didn't experience this because you weren't at the game, but the press box, they did a great job.
Well, I've never doubted that. I mean, I figured that would be good.
I mean, really did a nice job with the broadcast booths, with the press box. Well done by the company, of course, that's refurbishing and renovating Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. Okay, we'll take our first time out. When we come back, if you want to talk some Tigers football, hit us up on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines. We're going to also move on to the SEC. There's a lot of games to talk about. We'll look at the games around the nation as well. Barrett Salee at 8:25, Blake Topmeyer at 9:25. Yes, football season now in full force, but basketball season is right around the corner. And for basketball players in this neck of the woods, you want to become a better shooter for your high school team, you're a college player, or whatever the case may be. Maybe you're just a Saturday afternoon shoot-around guy. You want to become a better shooter, a better all-around player. Shoot 360 Memphis is the place for you. Take your skills to Shoot 360 Memphis with 2 locations, Collierville and now Cordova, and that's the newly renovated 50,000 square foot facility with 2 NBA regulation-size courts, 3 high school-size courts, and 4 shooting bays with Shoot 360 technology. What is Shoot 360 technology? It's a revolutionary basketball training facility. It combines cutting-edge technology with gamification. I know especially young people today love that, and provides instant objective feedback, hands-on, one-on-one expert coaching. Coaches that have coached even at the highest level, the NBA. For a guy like Scott Adebayo, who was a former Grizzlies assistant, they are there to help you become a better basketball player. Shoot 360 Memphis is there to help you learn proper shooting and passing techniques, improve fundamentals, and gain a competitive edge while having fun. And it's all about having a good time. And now they have monthly memberships. So join for a month, see what you think. I think you'll like it. If not, you're in it for 1 month. You're not in it for this long-term, bogged-down contract. So give them a call, 901-779-3176. That's 901-779-3176. Tell them you heard it here on Sports 56 Mornings, or stop by either in Collierville or in Cordova. Shoot 360 Memphis, where the preps and pros go to get their shot on. Just underway on a Tuesday, this is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Top Gun is the largest indoor range in the Mid-South, but size isn't their only difference. Top Gun has the best instructors with over 300 years combined experience and classes all the way from first shot to master marksmanship. Plus, Top Gun is affordable. Gold membership is just $48 a month. That's just $1.60 a day for unlimited range time, free gun rentals with purchase of ammo, and members lounge access. Top Gun 2770 Witten Road and TopGunMemphis.com. Always shoot with the best. Top Gun Memphis.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds, which could be life-changing. Life-changing. I mean, you could put that money towards concert tickets for your daughter to see that singer who sings about painful breakups. And one song will inspire your little beauty to break up with that beast she's dating, Brian. Instead, she'll date someone who's nice and worthy of her love, not someone who addresses you and your spouses, bro. And it's all because you could save money switching at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states.
I'd rather ride a bike with my kids.
I'd rather play catch with my dog than catch pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. If you are 19 or older with certain chronic conditions like heart disease or asthma, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
I'd rather race for some ice cream. Let's go.
Schedule your vaccination today at Prevnar20.com.
Make your next grill your last with a Big Green Egg. Smoke, bake, roast, sear, and grill, all with a lifetime warranty. Save money on fuel, eating out, and replacing expensive grills that cannot match the flavor of the Big Green Egg. Ready to cook in only 10 to 15 minutes with temperatures below 200, above 700, and anywhere in between with ease. Change your at-home cooking experience for life. Go to shop.biggreenegg.com.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. It's trying to get a little bit busier the last few minutes out here on 40 westbound from Germantown Parkway all the way up to Sycamore View Road as that traffic increases. 55 northbound through Hernando coming up from DeSoto County in and through South Haven. Still not bad. 40 east across the Hernando to Soto Bridge. Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64 is your full-service family-owned jewelry store right here in Memphis. Go by and see them today. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome back, everyone. 7:25 the time. Hour one here on Sports 56 Mornings. Hope you had a great holiday weekend.
Got some texts here on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line, 360-8255, 360-8255. You can text Ian. Drew texts in, says, the Tigers' running game worries me. I understand it was probably a vanilla playbook, but it's still North Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, that was part of the conversation after the game. Even Ryan Silverfield talked about it.
I mean, losing Sutton Smith, I mean, I think there's reason to be concerned at this point. I mean, when you lose a big part of your backfield, in all likelihood for the season, I guess we'll find out for sure today, but in all likelihood, you're going to play the season without him.
There's no question about it. I mean, there's certainly there is understanding of worry around Tiger country, but I still believe with Amario Anderson, who was the leading rusher at South Carolina, you're in good shape. If DeWosier can play the way they think he can, he's that scat back, kind of a Sutton Smith-esque type back. Hopefully they don't miss a beat. But Sutton Smith, they expected him to have the big breakout year. Now, if it is an injury that will cost him the rest of the season, which I truly believe it will be, he still has 2 years of eligibility and can be redshirted, whether it be a red shirt because he hasn't taken one or a medical red shirt. So it still looks like, Sutton Smith has a career with the University of Memphis beyond this year.
David texts in. He says, what are we going to complain about if we give ourselves ample time to go into the game? People always can find something to complain about, David. Never doubt people's ability to find something to complain about.
True.
Raider Corey says the excitement and the expectation was ramped up. I've attended just about all Tigers opening games. You feel during pregame that fans are expecting something big. The atmosphere was electric. Buckle up. This could be a fun ride.
Yeah, I agree. It was just a different type of vibe down there. Maybe it was the whole. But seriously, the students, I've never seen that many students at a football game. So that was nice to see. Okay, well, that was happening in Memphis. There was a lot happening in the SEC. I broke it down into basically 3 categories for opening weekend, which was more than just the weekend. Started on Thursday with games Thursday, Friday, then Saturday, Sunday, and last night. In the SEC, I thought there were 5 big clashes. Now, the Vanderbilt-Virginia Tech game, I put that as one of the big clashes because of Virginia Tech and the expectations from them in the ACC. Then there were 5 other FBS versus FBS games, lopsided going in and lopsided coming out. And then there were 6 FBS versus FCS games, which were just demolitions. Okay? Let's start with the 5 big clashes. Georgia beating Clemson, Miami beating Florida, USC beating LSU, Notre Dame beating Texas A&M, and Vandy losing a lead, coming back, and winning in overtime. So in the big clashes, the SEC lost 3 of those games. They were 2-3, and that included Vandy's win. Georgia did what most people expected them to do. But when you look at the big games, it wasn't a great weekend for the SEC. We start with Georgia, number 1 over number 14, Clemson. Carson Beck, he's really good. 23 of 33, 278, 2 touchdowns. They did not have Etienne. He did not play. I salute Kirby Smart for not playing him, giving him that suspension for the first game in a huge game. So he was down to his 3rd-string running back, but the 3rd string, the 4th string, the 5th string running backs for Georgia are all pretty good. Slow start, and then they got it cranking. But that defense has been so good for so many years now. The question is more on Clemson's side, Eli. Just where does Clemson go from here with Dabo Swinney not bringing in transfers? Georgia is a juggernaut.
Yeah, I mean, they're the most talented team in the country. Everybody believes that. Again, the schedule is tough in the SEC because of the road games they've got. But when playing in Atlanta, they tend to play really well. This game really wasn't, for me, it wasn't that unexpected. Dabo's going to have to at some point realize, like, if he's going to continue to try and do this whole I'm not taking kids out of the transfer portal, he's going to continue to get beat 34-3 by good teams.
Yeah, there's no question about it.
He's just going to have to change his ways. I mean, but Georgia,
I think there's a better chance he retires at the end of this year than caves in.
I don't know. I have no idea how stubborn he wants to be. But at some point, you've got to realize, like, they just don't.
Even Saban would keep up with the.
They don't look like they're in the same, like, ballpark as Georgia.
Right.
Like, and they're. I mean, years ago when they were winning these championships, and they looked, even when they would lose to Alabama or whatever, like, you go, okay, like that, they look.
They looked apart.
They look the same.
Yeah.
This doesn't, like, they didn't look like they belonged on the field with Georgia. I mean, they couldn't do anything offensively.
But you have
and they keep
to
getting
adapt.
These highly ranked quarterbacks who end up being disappointing there for whatever reason. But, like, that's, I mean, they were never a threat to do anything offensively. Like, it was just not going to happen for them. I mean, Georgia's defense looked way better than them.
Right. Clemson hung in early because their defense played well early, but then Georgia got into the rhythm. But you have to adapt. How about all those years with Saban? He would have 3, 4, 5 running backs who were all going to head to the NFL. And he ran the ball. He had a serviceable quarterback. Then all of a sudden it was like they're airing it out in college football. So he keeps up with the Joneses, actually goes beyond and brings in Heisman Trophy winners or candidates and goes into the modern passing world. Dabo, in a world which we live in now where it's a transfer portal, happy college football system, decides he doesn't want to bring in anybody. Navy and Army can't, or they would. They're the only other team that doesn't bring in anybody through the portal. I mean, people have a hard time believing that, but that's true. So, yes, unless he adapts, he's done. He's finished. And it's a shame because this is a national championship winning coach. All right, we move on. So Georgia doing what it, and shout out to Conor O'Gara. He said they'd win by 4 touchdowns. They won by 31 points. Miami and Florida in the swamp. A lot of people are a little bit hesitant with Miami because they've been burned by them before. But we know that Florida has struggled under Billy Napier. So here comes Cam Ward for Miami and lights them up. 26 of 35, 385, 3 touchdowns and a pick for Cam Ward, the Miami quarterback. And Florida loses at home 41-17. And you just feel, Eli, with that schedule that they have this year, that this is the beginning of the end for Napier.
Yeah, I mean, look, you can look. There's basically one game that you could say absolutely Florida will win. Every other game, they very well could lose. Like it would not be crazy to see Florida go 1-11. They probably won't. They'll pull out some other wins, but it wouldn't be crazy for them to go 1-11. Miami's good. Cam Ward is really, really good. He is fun to watch play. He did the way he plays is just it's cool. Like I don't know. Like he's cool. Like I don't the little sidearm throws stuff like that. And then he'll run and he'll just like walk out of bounds at the end of the run while defenders run out. He'll just kind of slow down and look at you like as he just kind of barely walks out of bounds. Like, I don't know. Like I really enjoyed just watching him. Like I saw little bits of him, but I haven't seen like a ton of him. Like I was like this. I just kind of really like watching this dude play football. He just kind of cool out there and doesn't seem to really care.
He's Caleb Williams-esque. I think highly of him, and I think he's found the right place in that offense that they're running. Miami may be the real deal. You know, we talked about Florida State and Clemson, Miami, maybe Virginia Tech. Maybe NC State. Well, Virginia Tech lost to Vandy. Clemson gets blown out by Georgia. Florida State's 0-2. NC State barely won their first game. Maybe it'll be Miami's year. The return of Miami.
They clearly look like, I mean, again, we're 1 week in, but they clearly look like the best team in the ACC.
Through the first week,
not that Florida's some great team, but going into the swamp, Brandon Lang brought, Florida doesn't lose these games. Like historically, they just don't lose in this situation, and they were not. It wasn't competitive. I mean, they couldn't do anything. If I'm Billy Napier, I'm just going with DJ Lagway, hoping he plays well and selling people like, this is our quarterback of the future. This is the guy I brought in. You need to let me continue.
You have to pull out all stops.
You got to let me stay here because if you fire me, he's probably going to transfer. Like that's your selling point now with Billy Napier. It's like DJ Lagway has to be your reason for them to keep you, and you hope that works. But again, this season,
that's Billy's choice too.
It's going to get ugly,
right? But that's Billy's choice. If he doesn't play him, he'll leave, even if Billy's back. So you have to play the guy. It makes sense.
Slogan, this is the way.
This is the way. Texas A&M.
Problem is they are lagging.
Yes, very nice.
They're lagging the way.
They're lagging in their way.
Texas A&M didn't find their way, even with the new coach and Mike Elko. I just didn't understand this one. Like I said during our pick 6, you're giving me points. I don't need the points. Notre Dame's winning this game. You got Mike Elko, the new coach. I like Mike Elko. The guy he's going up against quarterbacking for Notre Dame was his quarterback in Riley Leonard. It just made sense to me that Notre Dame was going to go down there and win that game. Now, it was tight. It wasn't a blowout, but they win 23-13. That is a really, really good win for the Irish because their schedule sets up in a way that, there are a few obstacles. But for the most part, and one game doesn't make a season, but it puts them in a driver's seat. It puts them in the driver's seat. Obviously, they can't be a top 4 seed, but they're on their way to the playoffs unless all of a sudden the roof caves in. For Texas A&M, unfortunately, same old right now, whether it be Jimbo Fisher or Elko. Again, one game doesn't make the season, but their quarterback, Wigman, which is how you pronounce it, 2 interceptions, just not good. I didn't like him from the get-go. So to me, Notre Dame was an easy play in this one.
Yeah, I didn't buy into the hype of Wegman coming into the year. I just don't, from what I saw last year, didn't seem like, I don't think he's that good. And that offense, I wasn't going to suddenly believe in their offense being good enough. And they lost a lot of good players on defense. I do have concerns about Notre Dame keeping Riley Leonard healthy with as much as they're running him and the shots he's taking. But that's part of his game. Like, he's really good at running. Yes, their schedule sets up great for them to be in the playoff. I mean, it's right there in front of them when you consider, before the year, the toughest game was supposed to be the Florida State game, probably. That certainly doesn't look nearly as tough. I mean, you look down their schedule, it's hard to find losses on that schedule now if Riley Leonard stays healthy. But their defense is really good. Once again, the offensive line did enough. It's still, losing both tackles, including one of the best in America. But their offensive line was good enough in this one. They'll probably get better as they go along up front. So yeah, Notre Dame is that's huge for them and puts them in a great spot as far as the playoff is concerned.
Yeah, great win for Coach Marcus Freeman and the Irish. Vanderbilt, the best win for the SEC? I mean, if you don't count Georgia blowing out Clemson, Vanderbilt over Virginia Tech. Now, maybe Virginia Tech is not going to be as good as people think, but let's give some credit. Let's give some love to the Commodores, the new revamped, renovated stadium in Nashville. They blow a big lead. They come back. They win in overtime 34-27 with a quarterback that came with assistant coach Jerry Kill from New Mexico State, Diego Pavia, and I don't know, at least for 1 week, Vanderbilt can walk around with their chest out and their head straight up, not hanging down low like it normally is, and looking down. They're looking up into the clouds and feeling good about themselves. Congratulations to Clark Lee and Vanderbilt for that win.
Yeah, it's a great win for them, obviously. I mean, it's, and Pavia, obviously he has the ability to pull off some big wins with what he did against Auburn last year. And that offense just looks different. Looks like, they have life on offense. Like last year, that team, you're like, man, how are they possibly going to, score points? Now with him, the running that he's able to do, throwing the ball, there's some creativity. You watch the offense, you're like, okay, this looks like an offense that actually might be able to put up some points, which is good for Vanderbilt to have. And with Clark Lee taking over the defense, you figure the defense will be better. He certainly has been a great defensive coordinator in his career. So if the defense can be better, and now you got a little creativity and a little life on offense, maybe they can pull off some wins here or there.
Yeah, a lot of credit to Clark Lee. Not afraid to bring in a guy who's been a head coach, who has had success, knowing that he can help them out. See how it works? When you're not afraid about having an assistant coach like that, you're not afraid of your job. You bring in somebody who's really, really good at a certain area, and you concentrate on what you do well. Worked out at least for week one. Look, again, Vanderbilt's not winning 9 games, but they won over Virginia Tech. And then one more before we take our next time out, and that is the game on Sunday night in Las Vegas, which was a hell of a game. USC. Again, member now of the Big Ten, although this was not obviously a Big Ten matchup. USC knocking off LSU 27-20. USC playing as physical, maybe even more physical than LSU. LSU, which played very well early defensively. We saw in the second half a lot of the things we saw last year, which was their problem, their bugaboo, the defense. We saw Miller Moss, who replaced Caleb Williams as the USC quarterback, go for 27 of 36, 378, and a touchdown. Nussmeier was good, not good enough. And then Brian Kelly lost it in the postgame. But USC, what a huge win to open up the season, because nobody has looked at USC and has given them any chance to be a playoff team. At least people I've talked to.
Well, again, they lost 5 games with Caleb Williams. But the best thing out of that game for USC is maybe Lincoln Riley has a defense for once. Something he's never really cared about putting together in his career. But To me, LSU should have won the game, but they just don't like to win season openers for whatever reason. And then the defense, late in that game, it was a lot like last year's defense. They could not get a stop when they needed to. They had the dumb penalties late in the game, which really angered Brian Kelly. I mean, it's just they had opportunities to win that game and weren't able to get it done. And yeah, give Miller Moss a lot of credit. He looked really good, and that last drive was extremely impressive, what he was able to do. So, I don't know where USC fits in the Big Ten. So I don't think it's really that big of a threat. But if they can play that defense, and then certainly anytime if you give Lincoln Riley a capable defense, they're going to be a threat because offensively they're usually going to be pretty darn good.
Well, here's the thing. There's not that many great offenses in the Big Ten. There's several, but there's not a lot. Most of those teams are better defensively than they are offensively. But what I hated from LSU's defense on that final drive was, look, I understand. Keep the guy in front of you. Don't let him get behind you. I understand that. But you can't let him rip off 15-yard passes every single play. Right down the field. 10 to 15 yards. And this isn't, I'm bitter because I had LSU to win by 1 to 6 points and would have paid off a lot of money. No, I'm not bitter at all. It was just, don't give up 10 to 15 every time, because I don't care if you keep the receivers in front of you, they're eventually going to get down in the field goal range or punch in a touchdown, which they ended up doing. By the way, the former running back from Mississippi State, Marks, scoring the clincher for USC.
Yeah, I mean, that's like last year, that LSU, again, late in game, they could never get the key stop. Like, they just seemed to never get those stops defensively. And here was another case where you had plenty of opportunities. You get the targeting call. I mean, just making silly mistakes that cost them. And when the game's on the line, they just cannot figure out a way to get off the field, basically. So I could see why Brian Kelly's upset. Like, he should be.
Yes.
He should be mad about some of that stuff. I mean, it's crazy to think that they've now lost. LSU has lost 5 straight season openers. Makes no sense. Now, granted, some of them, they're not playing FCS opponents in those. They've been playing one of these neutral site games or against good opponents. They played Florida State back-to-back years. Now they play this
Clemson
one
next year
against USC. Yeah, I think they've got Clemson. Like they play these, but still, like, it's LSU. Like you're thinking like they can. You can't lose all of them.
Apparently you can.
But yet they can. They have proven that they can lose all of them. Brian Kelly still hasn't won a season opener at
amazing.
LSU. It's just, and again, I still think Brian Kelly's a hell of a coach.
So do I.
I think, and I still think he'll win a national championship at LSU. But that's a game that they should have won, and they just absolutely let that one get away from them. Genesis Diamonds. You don't have to worry about it getting away from you at Genesis Diamonds. That's when you're talking about great deals, great selection, great service. You're going to find it all at Genesis Diamonds. All the top designers, great prices, something for every budget. Whatever it is that you're looking for in the world of jewelry, for whatever special occasion or maybe just for the heck of it, to get something nice for yourself or somebody else, you can go see the folks at Genesis Diamonds at Poplar and Perkins Extended. You're always going to get great value. Direct importer pricing, taking out the middleman to save you money. You're going to get great service from people that aren't working on commission. They're just there to help you pick out that perfect piece of jewelry and educate you on what you should be looking for and what affects pricing, things like that, just to make you a smarter shopper when it comes to buying jewelry, whether you're buying it at Genesis or elsewhere. That's what they're to help you do at Genesis Diamonds. Poplar and Perkins Extended, that's where you'll find them. Genesis Diamonds.
More from the SEC when we return, including easy wins for Ole Miss, Tennessee, Mississippi State, and Arkansas. You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Be sure to follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ.
In Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises. Just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it. Because you're not just taking the bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. choices nearby at Jason's Deli. Locations at Ridgeway and Parkway Center, Poplar Holland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Family Leisure is having the world's biggest spa sale. It's happening right now. You can save thousands on in-stock hot tubs that are ready to be delivered. Family Leisure has spas that start at just $28.99. You know those cold plunges? You can get one for yourself starting at $39.99. Or how about swim spas? They start at $17,499. Plus, Family Leisure has set up special financing just for this event. Have you been sitting on the fence about an above-ground pool? Get off that fence and get to Family Leisure to take advantage of huge discounts on all their in-stock above-ground pools. And if you need some patio furniture, it's all priced to move out now. It's not too late to have some summer fun, courtesy of Family Leisure. But you better hurry up. The world's biggest spa sale might go on forever. Family Leisure, with and run at I-40. Family and fun come together.
Labor Day savings at the Home Depot, you can get up to $1,500 off select appliances from top brands like LG, America's most reliable line of appliances, like the LG Smart Top Load Washer with easy upload angled front, so you can reach every last sock. Right now, get up to $1,500 off select appliances in store and online with Labor Day savings at the Home Depot. Home Depot is getting more done. Price available through September 11th, U.S. Macy's store online for details. America's most reliable line of appliances for limited study.
The best I-dos start with Sissy's Blue. Discover bridal jewelry worthy of your big day at Sissy's Log Cabin, along with our spectacular experience that comes with our promise of exceptional quality, service, and brilliant natural diamonds. Experience our expansive selection when you stop by any of our 6 locations or shop online at sissyslogcabin.com. Find your perfect engagement ring only at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
As we were talking about earlier, there's not a lot you can take out of the FBS versus FCS matchups, but I can tell you this. Ole Miss is good, no matter who they're playing, and I think it's going to be a special year for them as they rolled over Furman 76-0. Jackson Dart, 5 touchdown passes and another score rushing.
Yeah, I mean, they could have scored 120, 130. I mean, Trey Harris is really good. Jackson Dart's really good. Like, they're loaded on offense. We think receiver room, Priest, Cornet, they're just loaded on offense. And
we think the defense has improved, but it's tough to tell from Furman.
Yeah, I don't know what they outgained him by 600 yards. Outgaining somebody by 600 yards.
The best bet, I'm not some handicapper, I'm not Brandon Lang, but to me the best bet on the board was Ole Miss minus 42. Because Kiffin's not going to pull back. Well, he was rubbing it in. He got backups in there, but
I took the over because I knew they would get the over by themselves.
Right.
I did the same thing with them in Alabama both. I just figured they would both get the over by themselves, and they both got the over by themselves. So it worked out very well.
We could also, I think, surmise that Tennessee's pretty good, despite playing an FCS opponent, UT Chattanooga, 69-3. Nico Iamaleava. I'm doing that from memory. 22 of 28, 314, and 3 touchdowns. Again, as good as advertised, but it is UT Chat. I still think Tennessee could have a special season as well.
Yeah, he makes some throws. Like, again, guys are a little more open against Chattanooga but he just on deep balls, he could put the ball like right on the money. Dylan Sampson looked good.
He did look good.
I mean, he's a really good running back. Like, that offense, again, with Josh Heupel, like, offensive is not going to be a problem offensively for them. They're going to score a bunch of points, and I think Nico will look probably really good all year long. Question is defensively what they're able to do when they get into the better opponents, but they are certainly a team capable of making the playoff.
And Tennessee will play North Carolina State this weekend. Elsewhere, as far as the FBS, FCS battles in the that involved SEC teams. Arkansas over Arkansas Pine Bluff 70-0. Maybe they have a running back in Jaquindon Jackson who looked really good. Their quarterback, Taylon Green, looked really good. But again, it's against Pine Bluff. I don't expect Arkansas to have this good a year, and I expect Sam Pittman will probably lose his job. But at least for the 1 week in Little Rock, there were a lot of Happy Hogs fans.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the game on Friday. Like, again, it's Pine Bluff's one of the worst. They're just horrendous. I mean, they're a bad FCS team. Like, if you can't beat them 70-0, you got a real problem with that Arkansas.
Mississippi State in the debut of Jeff Lebby, 56-7 over Eastern Kentucky. Again, what do you take out of that one? Not much, but Mississippi State, good start to the season. Auburn played another bad team in Alabama A&M and beat them 73-3. Again, we'll see when they start to play decent caliber competition, how good they are or really aren't. But there you go. That's I think I'm missing one, but I have 5 there. I thought I had 6 FBS versus FCS. Then you had the other FBS versus FBS games involving the SEC. You had Texas beating Colorado State 52-0. Now, I don't know how good Colorado State's expected to be. I don't think they're great. But I'll tell you, they're a lot better than Furman, UT Chattanooga, Eastern Kentucky, and Alabama A&M. And Texas throttled them. Quinn Ewers doing his thing. And then Arch Manning got in there and looked good as well.
Yeah, Colorado State gets Colorado this week. I'll be interested to see what they do. But, I mean, again, at least you're playing an FBS opponent. And to destroy them like that, I mean, Texas looked as good as they are supposed to be. By the way, as much as I hate the "Can I Kick It" commercial, the Arch Manning Dr. Pepper commercial, that one's good.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Oh, he says, because whatever.
I've seen the Quinn Ewers one.
Yeah, the Quinn Ewers one.
Arch Manning's in that?
No.
What he says about him.
Yeah, when he's like,
That's pretty funny.
We don't need backup. We don't need backup. And when he says, I don't even care if he's got great hair and he's got famous relatives. We don't need backup. Like that's good stuff. That's a good one I like every time.
Yes, I thought you meant there was another one with Arch in there. But, yeah, I saw that one. That one was great. Alabama, I don't know why I'm a little surprised they won so easily over Western Kentucky. 63-0. Western Kentucky usually scores, but they didn't against Alabama. So what a debut for Kalen DeBoer. And Jalen Milroe looked great.
He's showed it last year. Like, dude's really good. Like, he's one of the guys who certainly has a chance to win a Heisman Trophy. Like, you put him in that offense and let him do his thing. Like, I think he's going to have a crazy good year.
Kentucky beat Southern Miss 31-0. They called that game. Was it the third quarter?
I'm not even sure where they were.
Yeah, the inclement weather, it wasn't going to go away. They weren't going to suspend the game. It was already out of reach for Southern Miss to get back into it. So Kentucky wins. That's what Mark Stoops does. He has Kentucky winning a lot of football games, getting to a bowl, and usually competitive in the SEC games they play. Oklahoma, the other newcomer, aside from Texas to the SEC, no problem with Temple, 51-3. Temple's, of course, an American Conference team, but a really bad American Conference team. And
legitimately, they have a good argument to be made that they are the worst team in America.
I think you're right.
They will be like any of those that rank, everybody have them in amongst their bottom 2 or 3. Like Temple is legitimately one of, if not the worst FBS team there is.
South Carolina, and I don't expect much from them this year. They barely won, but they did beat Old Dominion. Old Dominion is an FBS team, 23-19. The Gamecocks win. Eli, I'm missing a game here. You had the 5 big clashes. I have 6 FBS versus FCS games involving SEC teams, but I only have 5 written down here. Who am I missing? Who did I not talk about?
Well, they had Missouri that again they were a Thursday night game.
That's what I missed. The Missouri game, and of course they won 51-0 in that one. So again, look, taking care of business for the most part, but when you go back to the big 5 games, the SEC was 2-3. Not that they won't be the best conference when it's all said and done, and looks like they have the best team again in Georgia. We'll see how that shapes out. Best team in the SEC, of course. Last year, the best team was Michigan. But as far as the first weekend, 5 games that I've designated as big clashes, they went 2-3. We'll talk more about this a little bit later on when Barrett Salih joins us at 8:25, and then again when Blake Topmeyer joins us at 9:25.
This hour of the program brought to you by the Big Green Egg. Fired up my egg over the weekend a couple of different times. Great weekend to do that. Every weekend's a great weekend to do that. If you're going to be grilling, you should be doing it on the best grill there is. That is the Big Green Egg. You can go to the Ace Hardware stores here in town and check out the egg and see the different sizes, all the egg accessories as well. You can also, of course, go to biggreenegg.com to get all the information you need about the Big Green Egg, including the lifetime guarantee, all of those things that come with it, and amazing stuff that you can do with it, versatility to do whatever it is you need to make it very easy to do so. Again, biggreenegg.com is the place to go to get the information on the Big Green Egg.
When we come back, hour number 2, we'll get to some of the national games from the first weekend of college football. Also, the NCAA considering more historic changes to its amateurism rules. We'll talk Grizzlies and the injury to G.G. Jackson. And, of course, we'll give you all the information you need to know from what happened yesterday between Joey Chestnut and Kobayashi. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Heating up, and so are the savings at Choate's. We've got 3 incredible offers to make your season spectacular. First up, our Grill and Chill with Choate's Summer Special. Upgrade your HVAC system and choose between a free Yeti cooler or a Green Egg grill on select systems. Then power through any outage with Choate's generators. Be one of the first 50 customers to buy a generator and score a massive 75-inch TV or an iPad. Also, don't forget about our tankless water heater offer. Purchase a tankless water heater from Choate's and receive a premium toilet free. Don't wait. These offers are too good to last. Turn to the experts with Choate's and call 347-8086 or visit us online today for your free estimate. Now introducing Choate's air conditioning, heating, plumbing, and generators. Choate's, let our family serve your family.
Hungry for that delicious smash burger flavor? Dyer's Cafe is the original smash burger since 1912 and still smashing burgers in Collier's historic town square. Come out for their lunch specials Monday through Friday 11 to 2. Ask about their world-famous split dog and authentic Chicago or New York dog. Try the leaner side of Dyer's with a grilled chicken sandwich or freshly made salad. Also serving Lakes, Delta-raised catfish, Pasquale's tamales, and a customer favorite hand-breaded onion rings. Dyer's, serving world-famous burgers, dogs, and shakes in Collier's historic town square.
Hi, it's Colin. You may have a pair of headphones you like, but the battery life is too short, or maybe they don't fit your ears properly. JLab is crafting headphones, earbuds, and work accessories designed for everyday use. The J-Buds Lux over-ear headphones are perfect for noise-canceling travel. I use them. Discover your perfect pair of headphones. Look for the JLab Blue Box at Walmart, Target, Best Buy, and more, or just visit jlab.com.
Getaway Sports Bar is kept secret in town. Open noon to 1:30 a.m. 7 days a week. Garden created this SEC NFL Dream Bar over 20 years ago. You'll never miss a minute of action. 10 TVs, 5 70-inch TVs for all the big games. Come up on 6 pool tables. Moses Beer and Taylor grab your pool stick and get you some more water. Chicken tenders. Daily happy hour Monday through Friday, 10 to 6 p.m. on Readiness 625 Getaway Sports Bar, 4632 Winchester.
This Sports 56 traffic report is brought to you by Luttrell Belting. They keep you moving.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Still a little bit more volume. And just in the last few minutes, southbound Austin P getting up on that ramp there to I-40. We've seen a couple of fender benders out here in the last hour or so. They've been pretty much just that. 40 East is trying to crank up a little bit more volume across the Hernando de Soto Bridge coming over from West Memphis. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry right here in the Memphis area specializes in bridal ring purchases. They've been around since 1984. Stop by and see them this week at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Flynn
broadcasting stations.
Oh, yeah.
Now, back to Sports 56 Mornings.
Isn't it a lovely morning?
On Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 8:03 the time, hour number 2 here on Sports 56 Mornings. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Zach Boyd with you, broadcasting live from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, it's where family and fun come together. The world's biggest spa sale continues, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. It's currently 70 degrees. Get up to about 88 today, partly to mostly cloudy, but you'll see the sun a little bit. Tonight, clear skies, actually overcast skies, 72 degrees. Slight chance of a rain shower tonight. Better chance for precipitation tomorrow at about 25%. Looks like it'll be a cloudy Wednesday with a high of 82 degrees. Hour 2 of the program brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers. I'll tell you more about them later on in the hour, but it is Tuesday, and it's time for Humdinger's Trivia.
That's right. And, of course, if it's Tuesday, that also means it's Taco Tuesday over at Humdinger's with their chicken and fish tacos. Just $2 each. That's all day today. That's each and every Tuesday. You can take advantage of that great deal on those delicious tacos that they have over at Humdinger's. But beyond the tacos, so many delicious items on the menu, from their salads and sandwiches, the chicken dishes, the different grilled fish options, the crispy fish and chips. It goes on and on. And absolutely delicious stuff over at Humdinger's. Poplar and Massey is where you'll find them. You can find them online at humdingersrestaurant.com, where you can check out that entire menu, get information about catering. If you've got an event that you need catered, they can take care of that as well for you. And there's information right there on the website about the catering from the folks over at Humdinger's. If you are the first to answer our trivia question correctly, well, then you'll win a $25 gift certificate to Humdinger's. You can answer via the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line by texting in at 360-8255, 360-8255. Text in those answers. You only get one guess, and if you've won in the last 30 days, well, you are not eligible to win. And here is today's question. Which I coming off the holiday weekend, I kind of I feel like I went a little easy on them. I think this one, I think we will have a very quick answer on this one. And we might even have a tie, and maybe Zach will need to get a tiebreaker involved. Georgia, with their win over Clemson, has now won 40 straight regular season games. Who was the last team to beat Georgia in the regular season? 360-8255, 360-8255. Last team to beat Georgia in a regular season game. Text in those answers. Again, the first correct answer gets the $25 gift certificate to Humdinger's. Couple of texts and things to get to. Scotty on X says, going to be really funny when Memphis is the only ranked team in the FSU-Memphis matchup. I'm a diehard Vol fan, but I'm 100% pulling for Memphis to drop the preseason ACC champ completely into despair. Well, Florida State certainly will not be ranked for that matchup.
No
now,
chance.
Whether Memphis can find their way into the rankings, we shall see. But we know that Florida State will not be ranked for that. He also says the wildest thing is whoever wins the ACC will be a 3-loss team. Miami beat a Florida team trending worse than Vandy somehow.
I don't know about Miami being a 3-loss team.
Yeah, it's hard to find 3 losses on their schedule, quite frankly. Like, they've got Virginia Tech, who again lost to Vanderbilt, and that's a home game. Their road games are in conference are at Cal, at Louisville, at Georgia Tech, at Syracuse.
Louisville will be tough.
Louisville and Georgia Tech.
Very much improved.
Certainly.
Georgia Tech.
Could beat them, I guess. Mm-hmm. They get Florida State at home. Again, Florida State doesn't look that good. So I don't know, in the non-conference, they got Florida A&M and Ball State as their next 2. Then they go to USF. We know USF can be pretty good. Can certainly score some points. But, yeah, I don't know. Again, Miami looked – I know Florida – I don't expect Florida to be very good. And I don't think they're very good at all. But that was an impressive performance by Miami. Cam Ward is the real deal. He's legit.
You know, USF has Alabama. We know how tough they played Alabama last year. Maybe it was a fluke. We'll see. I like Golish's team. And then they have the opportunity to play Miami. They could really make a statement if they pulled an upset. I don't think they're winning in Tuscaloosa. But against Miami, it's not out of the question that they could pull an upset.
On the text line here, Reggie says, Florida State was ranked number 10 in preseason for a reason. Regardless, we have to beat them and let the chips fall where they may. I think we will with max pressure on their quarterback. They have one receiver that scares me, but their quarterback is not that good and is a big part of why they are 0-2. Yeah, I mean, again, DJ Uiagalelei, there's all kinds of physical tools there, but, like, he's just not that good. Like, that throw he missed last night in the back of the end zone, like you can't miss that throw. As a college quarterback, like, that's a throw, like, that should be a touchdown 100% of the time. Hell, a high school freshman makes that throw easily. You can't miss that guy that wide open, and he didn't even come close to him.
If you can win in the trenches, you can beat Florida State. That's been proven already in 2 weeks. And Memphis, again, with their 3 new offensive linemen, can they do so on the offensive side defensively? I think they could do a good job to maybe get some pressure on Uiagalelei. Here's the one thing. 2 things, actually. They now have all this time to get ready for Memphis. It's not like they're playing this weekend. So they have a lot of time, 10 days, 11 days, whatever it is, to get ready for Memphis. Mike Norvell, he knows Memphis. Mike Norvell, if his team is still aboard, let's just say, you never know when you're going to have a mutiny with an 0-2 start and already you feel like you're done. 1 loss doesn't kill you in a 12-team playoff. 2 losses might just do that. But will they step up for him against his former team? So I wouldn't right now give them their death notice.
No, again, I mean, yeah, as he said, they were ranked number 10 for a reason. Like, they have not been able to run the ball at all. But Mike Norvell knows what the hell he's doing.
Exactly.
Like, he's a heck of a coach. Like, he'll figure some things out. Again, I think they are handicapped a little bit by Uiagalelei, just not as good as they had hoped. But to think you're just going to trot on down to Tallahassee and take care of Florida State. Like, come on, man. Like,
right.
It's still Florida State, for goodness sake.
Exactly. So the NCAA is considering a bunch of more changes to their amateurism rules, as according to a story from Ross Dellinger with Yahoo Sports. Member schools plan to seriously consider granting athletes in all sports, not just football, the ability to participate in up to a certain percentage of games in a 5th season and still use their red shirt. We know in football right now, you can play up to 4 games. That doesn't include postseason, and retain your red shirt. Well, now they're looking at the possibility for all sports, which is fair. Also, they're looking at permitting athletes to earn prize money before they enroll in college. And they are also talking about eliminating the national letter of intent. So a lot of things certainly being considered as the NCAA continues to not only tweak, but absolutely overhaul their amateurism rules. Okay, some national games, and then we'll move on to the Grizzlies news, which wasn't good from the weekend. Penn State over West Virginia, 34-12. That was one of our pick 6 games. I think we all thought West Virginia would hang tight, hang tough. They did not. Penn State looked good.
Yeah, Penn State looked really good. That was they controlled that game. That's a impressive win for James Franklin and company. I thought that West Virginia certainly at home would have a chance to keep that really close and maybe have a chance to win it. And it was over early, really. They were never really competitive in that game.
Ohio State did what they were expected to do. They blew out Akron 52-6. Ohio State number 2 in the first poll. Number 3, Oregon won, dominated in the stats, but somehow only won by 10, 24-14 over Idaho. You look at those numbers, those stats, and you would like, oh, okay, Oregon scored 70. Nope.
Yeah, I don't know, because I wasn't watching the game, and they kept showing that score, and I kept thinking, okay, like certainly like the next time it comes up, like Oregon's going to be up by 30. And then it just never happened. I was like, what the hell's going on? And then I go back and I look, I'm like, well, Dylan Gabriel threw for 380 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now, the fact that he had to throw 49 passes against Idaho, I don't think they were planning on him having to throw 49 passes against Idaho, but I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what the hell happened and why they couldn't score more points and pull away with him putting up those numbers, but nonetheless, that's what it was.
The defending champions, Michigan, 30-10 over Fresno State. solid win. It wasn't spectacular. And Sharon Moore's debut as the head coach, now that Jim Harbaugh's moved on back to the NFL, and now the Chargers head coach. We talked a lot already about the BC win over Florida State, 28-13. Anything else from college football that you want to touch on until we get to our guests?
Well, I will say this. I did not expect on my day of Saturday of planning it out and thinking of games I was going to watch, I did not think I was going to turn into Texas Tech Abilene Christian for the dramatic ending. I mean, Texas Tech should have lost that game.
Right.
Abilene Christian had them beat. How you could get into that situation as a Power 4 program to be losing to Abilene Christian, basically. It just amazes me somehow, some of these programs, how that could possibly happen.
Yeah, and again, there were a few of those games where the FCS was right there on the precipice. They only won one time, though. But most of those games, as we talked about in Hour 1, were absolute blowouts. Second hour of the program is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers. They are your family's jeweler. They have their big anniversary coming up in a couple of weeks, so they got a big anniversary sale. We'll talk a lot more about that next week with Jay Gaddis when he stops by. 4900 Poplar between Mendenhall and St. Nick, on the web at gaddisjewelers.com. You're talking 25 years at the Poplar Avenue location, 52 years in Memphis. They are your bridal engagement and anniversary jeweler headquarters. They are full-service jewelers with 2 bench jewelers ready to serve you. So if you're looking for a cleaning, if you're looking for a resetting of your rock, if you're looking to resize your ring, whatever the case may be, it's James Gaddis Jewelers. Again, full-service jewelers. And if it's diamond rings you're looking for, again, they are your bridal engagement and anniversary jeweler headquarters. But watches of all types, necklaces, earrings, pendants, whatever the case may be, they have it for you. Plus, one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry. James Gaddis Jewelers, 4900 Poplar between Mendenhall and St. Nick, and on the web at gaddisjewelers.com.
Also, you had, I thought for a long time there that Clay Helton was going to help out his old school.
So did I.
Man, they were right there. But Ashton Genty, holy moly.
6 touchdowns.
I mean,
what a statement.
267 yards and 6 touchdowns to get your season started. And then the other running back had a long touchdown run. They had 371 rushing yards. But the fact that they gave up 45 points to Georgia Southern shows they can give up some points.
Right.
And so, again, if you're a Tiger fan, you just need Boise to lose. The Oregon game, we assume they'll lose. Just lose somewhere else along the line. That's what you're looking for out of them. With obviously Washington State and Oregon State on the schedule, we'll see what happens there. But man, Georgia Southern looked like they were going to maybe pull that thing out, and then they could not stop Boise State from running the football. I mean, Genty was amazing.
And in the conference, keep an eye on our buddy, friend of the show, Barry Odom, former Memphis defensive coordinator, and UNLV. I think that one could be a really good game when they play, because UNLV is always going to have a good defense under Odom, and offensively they've gotten better. So that'll be an interesting one.
We do have a correct answer in our Humdinger's trivia. I figured we would get a lot of correct answers very quickly in this one. But there were 2 people that did beat the rest. So that's only a 2-way tie, although there were a ton of right answers that came in. The question was, which was the last team, who was the last team to beat Georgia in a regular season game? And you got to go back to 2020, the COVID year, which is amazing. Again, 40 straight now regular season wins for Georgia. And that team to beat them seems like even longer ago when you consider the current situation. But that was Florida in the 2020 season that beat them. Boy, have those programs gone a little different direction since that game.
I would say so.
They are slightly different right now. But Florida 2020 was the last team to beat Georgia in the regular season. We got a 2-way tie. So, Zach, let's go. Let's see. What do I want to give you as your options here today? And you don't need that.
So give me like all the bad quarterbacks.
Starsky or Hutch?
There's a good one. Starsky or you probably don't even know what that is, though.
What are you talking about?
Do you know Starsky and Hutch at all?
Old TV show, detective show.
But I don't know what it is.
It's 2 guys named Starsky and Hutch. It was a TV show. It was a fun show.
So,
people like.
So you're choosing blind, Starsky or Hutch?
So
just pick
one.
one.
Let me answer this, then I'll need a follow-up question.
Okay.
Let's go with Starsky.
Going Starsky, okay.
Okay, what's the follow-up question?
Now, is it
what the hell is that?
You would love it because they also had a guy, a street smart pimp named Huggy Bear, who would give him the inside information. It was kind of like a stool pigeon.
They had a really cool car.
They had a cool car too.
That's what
Huggy Bear
it was really about the car.
Huggy Bear wore the fur coats and he had the cane. You know, he was the pimp, and that's where they got a lot of inside info.
Oh, you talking about? Is that like a cartoon show?
No, it's real.
It's a detective show.
Okay, because I was going to get ready to ask you, is it like Dukes of Hazzard in a sense?
Is it? Well, I mean, somewhat yes.
Yeah, but Dukes.
But they weren't. They're
were
detectives.
Yeah.
Right.
They got a cool.
They had a cool car too.
But the fact that the show's kind of based around a cool car, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. In that way, yes. Like the cool car is a big part of the show.
Yeah, it was a good show. All right, before we take our next time out, Barrett Salih will join us on the other side. The Grizzlies are a little more than 3.5 weeks before camp opens up. Believe it or not, October 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. So about a month. And Media Day will be on the 30th, so that's 27 days away. So it is right around the corner. And after the year they had last year with all the injuries, people are fired up for this season. Let's stay healthy. It's going to be a great year. And lo and behold, over the weekend, I think this came down on Friday news dump, Gigi Jackson, who played so well last year and then was playing incredibly well in the Summer League, during a pickup game just outside of Dallas, somewhere in Texas, apparently broke a metatarsal, broke a toe. And he will have surgery tomorrow, and then the team will give everybody an update at that point. So I don't know how long he'll be out. He'll miss some time. It's not some season-ending injury. And I know Gigi Jackson's with the Grizzlies.
I wouldn't say that. He might miss 2 seasons. Let's not kid ourselves here. We may see Gigi when he's 25.
I broke 2 toes playing football, and then was playing basketball 3 weeks later, and I pulled a hamstring. So you certainly don't want to do that if you're Gigi Jackson. You're right. They're a little conservative when it comes to injuries, but we'll find out more about that tomorrow. But come on now. Don't the basketball gods owe the Grizzlies something? No?
Apparently they're not done. They're not done yet. They will continue to pile on for whatever it is that the Grizzlies have done to them to anger them, but certainly unfortunate. That's awful for him and for them. But it probably solves any rotation issues to start the year. There's no longer a question mark about where Gigi, if he's in the rotation or not, because he won't be available. So
look at you, Mr. Brightside, Mr. Half Full.
I'm helping out Taylor Jenkins. The problem is if there are like 3 other guys get hurt, and then there's got rotation questions again because you don't know who's going to play.
Yeah, people were texting me, and they were like, come on. I said, okay, look, call me if it's Ja, Dez, or Jackson. Then I'll start to really worry. Gigi is a part of this rotation, I believe, but not necessarily 100% sewn up. He's been fun to watch. He's part of the future, but I don't think their season depends on him. Now, you'd rather have him than not have him, and I hate to hear any type of injury to any player, but as long as it's not one of the big 3, my heart didn't pop out of my chest.
Yeah, I mean, yes. I mean, yeah, I hate it for Gigi. It's bad news. You don't want to hear that for the Grizzlies, but there's a chance he really wasn't going to be a big part of the rotation.
Right.
Probably isn't. Probably wasn't going to be to start the year. So this is not a death blow. Like, oh gosh, the season's over.
Right. Exactly.
And I don't know. I have no idea how long broken metatarsal sets you out. I have no clue.
You're right, though, about the Grizzlies. They're a little
I don't have
cautious.
any clue how long this will be. And I guess maybe they don't know until they actually get in there and do the surgery. I have no clue how long to expect him to be out. I just know that Steven Adams was supposed to be out for 6 weeks, and he missed 2 seasons.
If there is a surgeon,
6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, that's what I figured. But again, it's the Grizzlies, so you throw a couple of more weeks on there. But if there is a surgeon listening to the show, please let us know at 360-8255. We'll take your call off the air. for that information. Pinnacle Roofing and Restoration for all your roofing and home repair needs. Call Brandon McCullough at 901-438-5084. They offer financing, different plans and options that you can choose from, 6, 12, even an 18-month, same as cash option. They'll work with your insurance company or out of pocket. Again, your insurance company can't tell you what company to use, whatever the case may be, whether it be a car accident or, in this case, a roofing issue. You can make that call yourself, and I would suggest you call Pinnacle. Locally owned and operated, Pinnacle does residential and commercial roofing. So business owners and property managers, obviously homeowners, if you have a leak or any other roofing problem, call Brandon today. They'll come out and do a free roof inspection. They're licensed, bonded, and insured, and a member of the Better Business Bureau. You get a 5-year labor warranty on the purchase of a new roof. All their work is satisfaction guaranteed. That includes carpentry work, exterior painting. They can replace gutters, put up fencing, siding, rotten wood repair. That's the restoration part. If you can do it yourself, great. If not, call the experts. Quality work at a very reasonable price. That's Pinnacle Roofing and Restoration. Call Brandon at 901-438-5084 or go online to newroofmemphis.com. Barrett Sallee is next. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
We are Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Simple, smooth, and every sip is easy as the last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does your favorite mixers. Back in the day, Tito distilled, hand-bottled, taste-tested, sent out to a few friends, then taste-tested again to give you the finest juice around. No frills, no flavors, no fancy labels, just the good stuff, just Tito's. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. For nearly 2 decades, we've installed some of the best roof systems across the Mid-South. To the tens of thousands of clients we've served, we are honored. So many of you call our team at Brian Elder Roofing your roofers. Our team is dedicated to serving you and keeping your family safe, dry, and mold-free. The recent hailstorms have caused massive damage, and many of these will go unnoticed for years, even though the golf ball-sized hail we just experienced in the Mid-South compromises even the best-built roof system. Whether we find damage or not, your photos are securely stored for future reference. Call Brian Elder Roofing today for a total evaluation of your entire roof system free. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. Call me at 901-867-0303. That's 901-867-0303. Or visit us online at brianelderroofing.com.
Maybe, like me, you're not a morning person. Maybe you, like me, like to sleep in. That's why Sunrise on Jefferson and Sunrise East on Poplar both serve breakfast until they close at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. There's no law that says you can't have the freshest, tastiest, all-around bestest breakfast in Memphis for lunch. Just head to either Sunrise location and proudly order yourself some eggs, some signature house-made square biscuits, or maybe even throw in a Bloody Mary. It's your breakfast. Have it when you want. And, of course, have it at Sunrise.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Traffic's on the increase with more volume westbound I-40 from Germantown Parkway all the way up to past Witten Road, Sycamore View Road. There's still some traffic volume trying to come off that ramp there from Austin P onto I-40 as it continues to build up through South Haven, 55 going northbound. Hey, at Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64, they are your full-service, family-owned jewelry store right here in Memphis. Go see them this week. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Genuine diamonds, baby.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 8:27 the time on this Tuesday morning. Tomorrow on the show, we'll make our picks for the NFL season. Jerry Palm joins us. We'll talk Grizzlies and the G.G. Jackson injury with DeMichael Cole and Teresa Walker on the start of the NFL season, specifically the Tennessee Titans.
By the way, Zach, 2004, there was the Starsky and Hutch movie with Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson. If you want to go back and you can watch that to get your Starsky and Hutch knowledge.
Which was not good. Not like the series. Believe me.
I never watched the movie. I couldn't disrespect the television show that way, so I never watched that movie. But if you just want to get a little sample of Starsky and Hutch, you can get Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson from 2004.
A very little sample. Time now for Barrett Sallee. What the hell was that? It was the organist from Wrigley Field. What was going on there? We got it now.
Yeah, we got it now. I thought we'd change it up.
Starsky and Hutch has got you so baffled.
I don't have the organ playing for all the bad football we saw this week.
It's time to talk some college football. Joining Greg and Eli is Barrett Sallee, host of the College Football Smothered and Covered podcast and SiriusXM College Sports Radio and columnist for Outkick.com. Here's Barrett Sallee with Greg and Eli.
Now, usually Barrett will join us on Mondays, but because there was no show yesterday with the holiday, kind enough to take some time out of his busy schedule to join us today. Mr. Sallee, how are you?
I'm good. I actually like the organist. That was pretty solid.
Well, you go to so many Braves games. I'm sure they got the organist there. I mean, that's part of baseball, so that's fantastic. Look, before we dive into the games from week 1, let's go back to week 0 because we didn't have you. You were traveling back to the States when your time would have been on to come on with us. So we don't have any stories yet. We just a quick little recap of what it was like for you in Dublin.
Man, the joke in Dublin is that they have a pub on every corner, and that is a flat-out lie because there's way more than one on every corner. I mean, it is. I've never been there, and it is fantastic. It was, I did some touristy things. I went to the Guinness pub, a house where they brew Guinness. Mm-hmm. I didn't go to the Jameson place, but I'm friends with Joe Hamilton, the Hall of Fame quarterback, who's the color commentator for Georgia Tech. And let's just say we had a lot of fun because he's a little bit of a celebrity, but he hates being a celebrity. So me and his producer are basically the people who save him. And by saving him meant giving him Guinness, which means we had Guinness. And I can tell you, I hate that beer in America. Like, I hate it. It does not taste good. It tastes so much better over there.
Does it really?
I don't know what it is, but it's different. It is different, and it is good. And I was staying in the Georgia Tech hotel, and they were excited. It was a good game, man. Like, that stadium's fun. The whole setup, the whole city. I kind of liken it to Ted Lasso. I know AFC Richmond Stadium is not very big, but the whole layout of the neighborhood around it is almost the exact same. It's just townhouse after townhouse and, little tiny roads. And then, bam, there's a stadium. And so, yeah, man, it's awesome. It was a lot of fun.
Were the natives, the Irish that lived there, were they up for this football game, or was it basically all the people from America coming over and just taking over Dublin for a day?
They were into it. I think because they've had this game, 5-6 times now, including last year, and Tech was in it in 2016. And, so they're not going to sit there and cheer punts, although sometimes it is appropriate to cheer punts. But they know now that that's not a big deal.
Right.
So they have a pretty good grasp of what's going on. And so they have adopted, some teams. They really like Notre Dame. They like Georgia Tech because Georgia Tech has been there. They didn't know a whole lot about Florida State, so we had to educate them a little bit and say, hey, look, this team, should have been a playoff team last year and all this other stuff, and this is what happened. And so they still got kind of confused with how the playoff system works. That was a bit over their heads. But in the stadium, man, they understood what they were doing. It's funny. They had the press box there is basically the 50-yard line in the upper deck, but they've retrofitted it to have, desks and stuff. So it looks like an auxiliary press box, but it's actually just that's how it is. And there were Irish folks walking all through there asking us if we wanted beer. And I'm like, this is great. Like, this is incredible.
That's, by the way, I can't stand Guinness. I don't know that the taste could be different enough for me to like it over there. But
It is. Eli, I guarantee you it is, because it tastes awful to me here.
Me too.
It's lighter. It doesn't go down as harsh. You can have more than just one relatively easily. Like I can't even begin to tell you how surprised I was, because I heard that. Like, I heard everybody telling me it's different. I'm like, yeah, Guinness kind of sucks. And then, I took a sip. I'm like, holy crap, they're all right. Like, everybody was right. This is totally different.
That's crazy. Someday I want to get over there, and I'm sure I'll try it. I'll be willing to try it. I'm
willing
always
to
willing to try.
I'm
always willing to give
it
it the old college try. That's for sure.
Well, since we brought up that game, let's make that transition into last night's game, and Florida State involved in both of those games where they both lost. What the heck is going on? As Memphis will play now Florida State, the Seminoles' next opponent, a week from Saturday. What is going on with Florida State?
Well, I was joking off air. I'm sure Memphis was excited when they saw Florida State on the schedule, because they're like, hell yeah, we're going to boost our schedule. Like, that's fantastic. And now it's like Memphis fans are probably like, damn, we got a cupcake.
I don't know about that, but
I forget. They should win by 2 touchdowns.
They are terrible. It's the line of scrimmage. You go back and watch that first half, it was basically 2 plays. It was Boston College finding something up the middle, which gained 4 or 5 yards every single time, and then running backs out of the backfield on a wheel route. And Florida State couldn't do anything about it. And you go back to the week 0, and it was the same thing. They just got blown off the ball defensively, especially in the middle of that defensive line. And, I mean, there's nothing you can do to fix that, really. It's not like you can suddenly develop, 6'5", 290-pound defensive tackles to create depth. Like, that doesn't happen. So, yeah, it's bad. And then, DJU is going to take a lot of criticism, and, I get it. You take more criticism, you get more praise if you're the quarterback. He's not good. Like, DJU is not good.
Mm-hmm.
But they have enough weapons where they should be able to disguise him enough to get wins. But their defense can't stop anybody. Their defense Boston College controlled that game throughout, and I know, there was that kind of time where it's like, oh yeah, Florida State might get into it. No, they wouldn't. There's no way. Like, that game was over in the first quarter or early in the second quarter, and there's nothing Mike Norvell can do. There's nothing that he can do, and I feel bad for him because I think he's a good coach. I mean, you guys know him.
Yeah.
I think he's a good coach.
Yeah.
But I mean, at this point, it's I wouldn't say it's a lost cause, because they still can, beat some cupcakes, but Memphis ain't a cupcake, and so I wouldn't be surprised if they're 0-3.
Man, that would be crazy. If they start 0-3,
nuts, absolutely nuts,
as a top 10 team and start 0-3, if that were to be the case. And again, and it's not like they played the powers to start. It's Georgia Tech, Boston College, and Memphis.
Right.
That would be crazy. Does the Georgia absolute beatdown of Clemson, in which Dabo Swinney afterwards talks about it's on him when you get beat that badly, is this enough to make Dabo change his ways?
No, because he's too married to them.
I agree.
I thought he would, but to me, it's looking more and more like he's Jimbo Fisher. And I wrote this for Outkick after the game. It's like he is. It's a different sort of stubbornness, because it's sort of centered around different topics, but it's the same thing. He's so married to what he's doing that and now, because there's criticism, instead of changing, he's going to dig his heels in. And that's just not how you go about this. It's not how you're successful. So, I think he needs to do, something. And look, I think there's a little bit of a misconception about him, in the sense that it's not that he's anti-transfer portal. It's that he's really selective on who he goes after. because he has gone after guys and he's missed, and he likes to coach up the guys that he has on campus. So, but he should get more liberal, I guess, in terms of where he goes in the transfer portal. I just don't think he will. And at the same time, I think he's put his trust in a offensive coordinator in Garrett Riley that built his reputation maybe a little bit too much on what TCU did, as opposed to what, in reality, what he is. Because, I talking to some folks after that game, that was a Garrett Riley called game. And a lot of these games have been Garrett Riley called games because Dabo put so much faith in his assistant. That has to change first more than anything else.
Barrett Sallee joining us on these Sissy's Log Cabin guest lines, the host of College Football Smothered and Covered. You can hear him on Sirius XM College Radio, and he's also a columnist. If that's not enough, he's a columnist for Outkick. You can follow him on Twitter at Barrett Sallee. What's one or two of the biggest surprises for you that came out of Week 1?
I was surprised with Miami. I didn't necessarily buy the Cam Ward, hype. I thought he was a stat monster, and it turns out he is a stat monster with hype. Right? Because he's really damn good. So that surprised me. It wasn't just that; it was Miami's defense too. So that looks like a complete team. That to me, I think was one of those some kind of show me games, and they 100% showed me. The Notre Dame Texas A&M game, I picked Notre Dame. I thought they were a better team. I was disappointed in Connor Wegman. I did not think that he was going to have a game like that. I thought he was going to have a ton of success. I thought Riley Leonard was going to have a ton of success. I thought it was going to be somewhat of a shootout, and I was wrong on both cases. Now, with that said, I think Notre Dame, that's fine with Notre Dame. Like, okay, whatever. They're going to make the playoff. I think that was their biggest hurdle. Well, at the time, but then we saw USC, and maybe it's different now. But I thought Connor Wegman was going to show a lot more, and he was just dreadful.
That's it's funny because if you want to do the overreactions to Week 1, you're like, okay, Miami's clearly winning the ACC, so they're in. Notre Dame just got by their big hurdle, they're in. So now you start figuring out everybody else that's going to be in the playoff beyond those two. Yeah. But you brought up USC. How much of that does Lincoln Riley kind of finally have a defense now? How much do you put on LSU? What's your takeaway from that game?
Yeah, I should have said USC was my biggest surprise because I thought it was a Lincoln Riley issue. I thought it was a philosophical issue. I didn't think D'Anton Lynn would come in and make that big of a statement, but clearly he has worked on fundamentals all off season because tackling. They were just atrocious in tackling the last couple of seasons, Lincoln's first 2 seasons, and that was something that kind of followed him from Oklahoma as well. And they looked like the bigger, faster, stronger, more physical team and more fundamentally sound. And I had no idea that they were capable of that. I don't put much of that on LSU at all. They didn't finish drives the way that I thought they should, but to me that's because USC is actually really good, not because there's something wrong with LSU's offense. In fact, I thought LSU's offense was fine. Garrett Nussmeier was dropping dimes all over the place. So, USC to me, that was a statement game because now I think you have to put them as a threat in the Big Ten because if they can play defense, they don't even have to play defense as good as they did Sunday night, just somewhat close to that, and they'll be fine because I think now we know Miller Moss is fantastic. They've got 2 fantastic receivers. They can run the football with Woody Marks. So, that was big time for USC.
Yeah, and in the Big Ten, you're not going up against a lot of high-octane offenses. There's only a couple. Even teams like Penn State, they don't have big-time offenses, even though they looked good against West Virginia. So that plays into the whole thing that you just talked about with USC's defense. Yeah,
with Penn State, I want to see what happens moving forward because that was the best we've seen Drew Allard play. And now he's got that expectation with him, right? So can he continue to do that? That's a different world. He's never had been in this position before. Mm-hmm. So I was excited about that. I was excited to see that. I was a little surprised about that, but now we have to see him repeat that with expectations. And he's got receivers, man. Wallace is really, really good, and We know they can run the football. So, that was one of those things where I was skeptical just because the track record didn't suggest that they could stretch the field the way they did. And that West Virginia team, they disappointed me big time. I thought they would put up a much bigger fight.
We talk about the Miami-Florida game, but on the Florida side, if you're Billy Napier, don't you just have to go with DJ Lagway now and say, hell with it? Like, we're just going to play the kid?
Well, yeah, I mean, Graham Mertz is hurt, so you have to at this point. But, see, I'm not the biggest, DJ played great guy because he did it against Miami's twos, and they were kind of just sitting back. I don't think it's a Graham Mertz problem. I think it's a defense problem. I think it's a defensive scheme problem. Ron Roberts didn't have the scheme ready for Cam Ward. I wouldn't say you go Lagway. I still think that Billy trusts Graham Mertz. I trust Graham Mertz, which you asked me that a year ago, and it would be 180 degrees of where I am now. But I think you still go with Graham if he's healthy, but, it sounds like he's not. So at least for the foreseeable future, let DJ roll, see what happens. And then, there's always that old adage, you can't lose a job because you're injured. But, Graham Mertz has that working against him because DJ's very, very good, very talented. And if he's the starting quarterback, he's got a chance to play himself into that role.
Yeah, and I don't trust Graham Mertz at all. So I'm a little different. I don't have any faith because to me, if I'm Billy Napier, like I hope DJ Lagway plays well. And my selling point to keeping the job is like, here's our guy of the future, and I got him here, so you better keep me here with him.
Not a bad plan, honestly. It's not a bad plan.
Well, right now, he's one step in the grave. Let's just put it that way with that first loss to Miami. All right, final thing, real quick, and I'm sure you've probably talked about it on your show or talked about it in some form or fashion. We were talking about this in hour one, the FBS versus FCS. That's run its course. Look, do you have an idea of a better way that they should handle this, or do you think they should just keep on doing this? The FBS was 60-1 versus the FCS. Now, there were some close ones, some close shaves, but they could have easily been 61-0 if it wasn't for the fact that New Mexico blew that lead against Montana State. There's a bunch more this weekend, the FCS versus FBS. I'm over it. Is there something else they could do?
Yeah, I'm not over it because, those schools need those paychecks.
I know.
That funds their entire athletic department. So, they're not very attractive television broadcasts. I get it. I think the network really dislike them. But from a pure athlete standpoint, if you get rid of them, you're taking away opportunities, not just for football players, but, for swimmers, for lacrosse players.
How about make it an exhibition game? How about make all these ones like 1 week of exhibitions?
Yeah, but I just don't know if networks would buy into that. They wouldn't pay, and schools wouldn't pay as much. And if the networks don't buy into it, the schools aren't going to pay as much, and the paychecks for these universities are not going to be as high. So, I get it. They're not very attractive, but I don't know. I think those schools need it, and I know that's it kind of goes against what the whole point of football is, and that's creating great games and making it a business that is successful and attractive. But I couldn't take that away from those teams.
Well, I hear you. You make a good point, but I don't think their first their first thing that they care about is charity. It's like they're trying to put a
state school systems do. That's the thing is the state school systems do, and I think that ultimately, if you're going to change it, okay, that's fine to me. Make Auburn play Alabama A&M, which they did. Make Clemson and South Carolina play Furman in the Citadel. Like if you're gonna have them, I would say keep them in state. That way, everybody sort of wins.
He is the host of College Football Smothered and Covered. You can hear him on Sirius XM College Radio and read his columns for Outkick. He is Barrett Sallee. You can follow him on Twitter at Barrett Sallee and catch him every Monday. I know it's Tuesday, but normally on Monday he'll join us, including next Monday. Barrett, thank you as always. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you on Monday.
Thanks, y'all. Have a good one.
You too.
Folks, if you got a move coming up, you want to make sure you get the professionals to help you with that move. take care of those belongings, making sure everything goes as smoothly as possible so you don't have a lot of stress and worry involved with that move. It's always stressful to begin with, but you got the right professionals to help you, like Black Tie Moving. Well, that'll take a lot of that stress out of it for you. All you got to do is pick up the phone, give the folks at Black Tie a call, and they'll be there for you. 901-316-6196. 901-316-6196 is the phone number. You can also go to the website blacktiemoving.com/Memphis. Talk with the folks at Black Tie, coming up with that plan for your move, fitting both your needs and fitting your budget as well. And you do get a no obligation quote up front, so you know exactly what it's going to cost when you go with the folks at Black Tie Moving. There's a reason they've got 5-star ratings all over online, A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. They're the best in the business. Black Tie Moving, 901-316-6196 or blacktiemoving.com/Memphis.
We have some NFL news when we come back, most of it emulating from San Francisco. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Guns, guns, and more guns. Over 700 firearms in stock. Home defense guns, old guns, new guns, used guns, big guns, little guns. Every gun you can think of, Classic Arms has them. All brands like Glock, Sig, Colt, Ruger, Smith & Wesson, Browning, Beretta, Benelli, Remington, Winchester, and more. Guaranteed lowest prices in town. Only gun importer in the Mid-South. Free gun inspections and appraisals and free bore sighting for the upcoming deer season. Shop online at ClassicArmsOfMemphis.com or visit Classic Arms at 1740 Germantown Parkway behind Quirky's Barbecue in Cordova.
Family Leisure is having the world's biggest spa set. It's happening right now. You can save thousands on in-stock hot tubs that are ready to be delivered. Family Leisure has spas that start at just $28.99. You know those cold plunges? You can get one for yourself starting at $39.99. Or how about swim spas? They start at $17,499. Plus, Family Leisure has set up special financing just for this event. Have you been sitting on the fence about an above-ground pool? Get off that fence and get to Family Leisure to take advantage of huge discounts on all their in-stock above-ground pools. And if you need some patio furniture, it's all priced to move out now. It's not too late to have some summer fun, courtesy of Family Leisure. But you better hurry up. The world's biggest spa sale might go on forever. Family Leisure, with and run at I-40. Family and fun come together. They're taking care of beerness in Memphis, right on the river with Grind City Brewing and all of their great products. Look, this was a dream come true for a father and son duo. And if you have not been to that brewery right on the river, just to the north of downtown, you're really missing something special. And now you can't miss their products. Wherever you go, you see a brand new label. It's clean, it's beautiful, it's distinctive. You'll know Grind City Brewing, and of course you know their products like Poppy's Pills, that great Pilsner, or Tiger Tail, that very creative craft malt liquor. There's the new Thaddeus Amber Lager. That is absolutely a great light beer. There's the India Pale called Godhopper. It's outstanding. And then there's the Belga, the Belgian-style wheat ale. They keep bringing hits at Grind City Brewing.
Summer's heating up, and so are the savings at Choate's. We've got 3 incredible offers to make your season spectacular. First up, our Grill and Chill with Choate's Summer Special. Upgrade your HVAC system and choose between a free Yeti cooler or a Green Egg grill on select systems. Then power through any outage with Choate's generators. Be one of the first 50 customers to buy a generator and score a massive 75-inch TV or an iPad. Also, don't forget about our tankless water heater offer. Purchase a tankless water heater from Choate's and receive a premium toilet free. Don't wait. These offers are too good to last. Turn to the experts with Choate's and call 347-8086 or visit us online today for your free estimate. Now introducing Choate's air conditioning, heating, plumbing, and generators. Choate's, let our family serve your family.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Diamonds are forever. Woo!
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
So if you're a really good NFL player, you might as well hold out. You avoid camp and usually get what you want. Now, may not be the case with Jamar Chase in Cincinnati, who's got 2 years remaining on his contract, and right now, not sure what's going to happen with that, although he's been at practice, he hasn't practiced. But in San Francisco, they had the Brandon Ayuk situation settled. Now, according to reports, the 11-time Pro Bowl offensive tackle Trent Williams will have his situation settled, as according to Adam Schefter, they are finalizing a rework deal to get the left tackle back to the team and give him a chance to play Monday night's opener versus the New York Jets. Other 49ers news, Pro Bowl running back Christian McCaffrey, who missed most of training camp with a strained calf, expected to return to practice today. So it's all falling into shape for San Francisco. Although certainly some horrible news, some horrific news over the weekend, which could have been a lot worse, as 49ers rookie wide receiver Ricky Pearsall, wrong place, wrong time, was shot in the chest. Luckily it did not hit a vital organ, went through the chest, through the back, clean wound. He's been placed on the reserve non-football injury list, but he's fine, out of the hospital, doing okay. Could have been a lot different. So a lot of 49ers news as we get ready for week 1 in the NFL season.
Yeah, that shooting, that's some scary stuff there. But no real surprise that, again, all these situations, generally, when you get right down to the deadline, they figure out a way to get these deals done.
Right. Again, if you're 8-year veteran, I don't want to go through camp again. Yeah, I'll just hold out. I really don't need the money, but I'm going to hold out anyway. I'm not saying that was the deal with Trent Williams or Ayuk, but Ayuk had a good argument about getting more money, and he did. Trent Williams, certainly, but Trent Williams has 3 years left on his deal. And we talked about this on Friday. All the guaranteed money was gone, and now he wants to make sure that he's got that guaranteed money with 3 years remaining on his contract. He wants to get it now as opposed to have to wait it out because you don't know what's going to happen if he's going to be able to fulfill that contract. But, man, oh, man, these guys, every single time the organization gives in. CeeDee Lamb, they got the job done in Dallas. Now, Dak still has a year to play and could become a free agent. More than likely, they won't get a deal done. Maybe they'll get a deal done during the regular season, but I don't think they will. And then he becomes a free agent. But when push comes to shove, is he going to want to stay in Dallas? I would assume he will, and they'll probably get a deal done there. The problem is Cincinnati, because Cincinnati, from everything I've read, is notoriously cheap. I understand Chase has 2 more years. He's still on that rookie contract. But is he going to play or not? That's the question. Again, we got the season starting on Thursday. The game on Friday is in São Paulo, Brazil. And I know there's a bunch of Philadelphia Eagles who've been vocal about they're going to play, but not wanting to play there. They're not real happy about playing there. That is a long flight for both those teams to play in Brazil, but that's the NFL spreading its wings. No pun intended with the Eagles.
They're going to play games all around the world to continue to find ways to make more money, because the NFL will never have enough when it comes to money. I wonder how hot it is there, like this time of year.
Well, we could look that up.
In Brazil, like that seemed like, I don't know.
I would imagine it's quite hot. Let's see if I can find that real quick before we go to the break. 74 right now. It's expected to get up to 88. And the game is what, Friday, right? Yeah, it says Friday, only 71 for a high, 60 for a low.
Yeah, there you go.
That's actually comfortable weather.
Good for them then.
More comfortable than it would be in Philadelphia. Who are they playing again, the Eagles?
That is the Eagles and the Packers. Is that right? Packers, yeah.
Yeah, now Green Bay is a different story. It's probably beautiful in Green Bay right now, but In Philadelphia, still quite hot, so they get a little reprieve, it looks like, from the weather going down to Brazil. When we come back, hour number 3, we got a lot to get to, including, if you missed it, the results of Chestnut versus Kobayashi, the pay-per-view event that was sweeping the nation and took place yesterday. Also got news from Memphis Tigers basketball, and Scottie Scheffler wrapping up one of the greatest PGA seasons in the history of the game. We'll talk about all that. We'll take your calls and texts, if you'd like, on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines at 901-360-8255. And then Blake Topmeyer will join us at 9:25 to talk SEC football. Lawn Solutions is a locally owned weed control fertilization company that serves the greater Memphis area. Just a fantastic group of people to help you with your lawn, whatever the situation may be. So the advertisement goes, let's try something like this. This is for you from Lawn Solutions. Do you have a lawn service and have still battled weeds all summer? Lawn Solutions will follow up with a short email to you after each visit. So in other words, you may have a company that you use, and yet you still see those weeds. At Lawn Solutions, you can contact Brandon, and you can talk to people. And if there's any issues with that, they're coming right back over, and they're taking care of it for you. That's why you can email them after each visit. And if you have any concerns or questions, you can simply hit a tab, and it's going to take you right to the owner's email. It doesn't get any easier than that. Transparency is what you get at Lawn Solutions. They're not a lawn mowing service. They're a lawn treatment service. So call or text Lawn Solutions today at 901-867-5626, 901-867-5626, or go online to lawnsolutionsinc.net. Hour 3 on the way. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Floors and More invite you to their retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors in Little Rock, Cleveland, Mississippi, and now open in Horn Lake at 2356 West Goodman Road. Specializing in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds, Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, or family projects, call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
You know, sometimes I wish I had a gun.
Well, I'm armed, but before I bought one, I still went to Top Gun Academy to learn to protect myself without a gun.
How is that possible?
Top Gun's personal protection training. It's perfect if you want to protect yourself without firearms.
I don't know.
And it's perfect if you feel the need to carry a gun for self-defense, because the last thing you really want to do is shoot.
That is scary.
Not at Top Gun. It's very comfortable, and you learn to load, handle, and shoot a handgun safely. Protect yourself. Go to Top Gun Academy. They're at 2770 Witten Road.
Wake up. Breakfast. And Nature-Made vitamins. Whatever your morning sounds like, Nature-Made fits right in. Whether you're looking for vitamin C or a multivitamin to get key nutrients, we've got you covered. Now that's a good morning. We take care of you so you can take on your day. Start your day with Nature-Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
So you need to sell your house? I have the solution. Call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill and I buy houses. Any house, any area, as is. It's literally as simple as that. Just pick up your phone. Call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill and I buy houses. Guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your house fast, call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at I Buy Houses.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and join Ottawa Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawa is a PCUSA church located in town Memphis.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Finish up a couple of wrecks we had out here a little bit earlier. Here's what we're seeing. Heavy traffic volume still trying to get down the interstate here, westbound I-40 from Germantown Parkway all the way to Sycamore View Road. There's still some traffic there on Austin P coming up off that ramp there onto the interstate. Looks good over here at the moment. I-40 at the 101 connector as you come past Watkins. Weimer's Jewelry here in Memphis specializes in bridal ring purchases. These folks have been around since 1984. Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back. 9:02 the time. Pumpkins, aren't they coming to Mississippi? What's the arena down in Olive Branch or South Haven? South Haven. What's the something bank amphitheater? What's it called?
Oh, the Snowden Grove amphitheater?
Snowden Grove, yeah. Aren't the Smashing Pumpkins coming there in September? I believe they are. Yeah, I believe they're coming there. Or they've already, no, I mean, it's just September 3rd, so it's got to be coming up. See if you can find the date on that. But that was it's one of their great songs right there that was our introduction back to the show. Hour 3 of the program here on this Tuesday, September 3rd, 2024. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Zach Boyd with you from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together. 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Currently 72 degrees. We'll get up to 88 today. Partly cloudy skies, so you'll see a little sun. Tonight, cloudy. Chance of a shower at about 16%, 73 for a low. And then tomorrow looks like 82 for a high. Cloudy skies, about a 25% chance of rain. But let me say that one more time. 82 for a high. 82, not 98. Hour 3 of the program brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. Speaking of North Mississippi, they have their new showroom at 2356 Goodman Road in Horn Lake, Mississippi. Hop, skip, and a jump from anywhere in the metropolitan Memphis area. It's Jenkins Floors and More. They specialize in flooring and carpeting. They got all the top-line material, SPC, WPC vinyls. These are scratch-resistant, waterproof vinyls. Ceramic and porcelain tiles. Hardwoods by Portercraft. Carpeting from Southern Luxury Carpet. They got backsplashes for your kitchens and bathrooms. Plantation shutters and blinds as well. All different styles and colors of granite, porcelain, and much, much more. And they're going to save you money because they sell it wholesale. So go visit the folks at Jenkins Floors and More. That's Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins. Family owned and operated. Again, the store in Horn Lake. They also have one in Cleveland, Mississippi, where they began about 8 years ago, and in Little Rock, Arkansas. And this is for homeowners, contractors as well. Do-yourself people, right? If you want to do it yourself, go down there and get the material from Jenkins. If you want Jenkins to do it for you, they will, and they'll do so with a 2-week turnaround. They'll come to you, give you a free estimate, give you show you different samples of what it will look like, whatever the job may be. It's Jenkins Floors and More. Call them at 662-469-9350. They're open Monday through Saturday, or just stop by any of their 3 locations, including 2356 Goodman Road in Horn Lake.
The Smashing Pumpkins, The World is a Vampire Tour, will be coming to South Haven on September 10th.
There we go. So 1 week from tonight for the Smashing Pumpkins.
Sounds like it should be around closer to Thanksgiving. You got Smashing Pumpkins and a vampire.
Or Halloween. One of the two.
Or Halloween, yeah, but Halloween.
Should be that bridge between Halloween and Thanksgiving, you know?
Yeah, but this is...
when people are actually smashing pumpkins because they're tired, they're done with them for Halloween, now they can smash them.
Did you ever smash pumpkins?
No.
So where I worked
I threw pumpkins that smashed.
Where I worked in Salisbury, Maryland for 10 years at ABC there, at the ABC affiliate, they had an event. I'm not sure if it was it had to have been right after Thanksgiving or right after Halloween, during Thanksgiving. And they had the catapults. And they would come up with all kinds of like different designs and things like that. And they would set like world records for how far they could throw that pumpkin through the catapult. And the things were just, I forget the distance they were going, but I think it's like an annual event that they have there. So they found neat ways to smash the pumpkins. Of course, you can also bring the pumpkins over to the zoo, right? Is it elephants and maybe hippos? And some of those animals, those big boys, they like those pumpkins. All right, these aren't pumpkins. I don't know how many pumpkins Joey Chestnut could eat, but I know in the Labor Day Showdown, the renewal of the rivalry, one of the great rivalries in the world of sports, Joey Chestnut and Kobayashi went at it. And Joey Chestnut comes out on top, wins the $100,000 prize with 83 hot dogs consumed in 10 minutes. Kobayashi, 67 hot dogs. He finished 16 behind.
He would have won this year's tournament with 16.
Easily.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So.
16 behind. Joey Chestnut sets a new world record. Dude, 83 hot dogs. How does he not just combust and die right on the spot? I don't get it. How can a human body consume 83 of anything, let alone 83 hot dogs in 10 minutes?
It's an impressive showing. 8.3 hot dogs a minute that's a hard pace to keep up.
8.3 hot dogs a minute. Dude, that's crazy. I mean, please, let's all comprehend that for a second. Yes, it's gluttony. Yes, it's sickening. I understand that. When you're talking about great athletes, come on. How's Chestnut not at the top of your list?
I could not, if you just gave me the little cocktail weenie things, I could not keep up a pace of 8.3 a minute for 10 minutes.
No way. There's no way I could eat 83 little cocktail hot dogs or whatever they're called. Wieners. Oh, boy. Anyway, congrats to Joey Chestnut.
Impressive showing by Kobayashi for coming, haven't we haven't heard from him in a long time. And to come out and put on a show like that, 67's a darn good number.
Yeah, I wonder if he is still active, even though he's not here in the States, battling Chestnut and the rest of them.
I know he had some health issues, I think, at one point. I don't know. So I don't know what he's able to do and not do.
Well, if he hadn't been competing, like competitive eating, and all of a sudden shows up and eats 67 hot dogs, you're right. It's incredibly impressive no matter how you slice it. And they ain't slicing the hot dogs. They're eating them whole. Now, I guess they're chewing them. Are they chewing them? I mean, I don't even know if these guys are chewing those hot dogs to be able to eat that many. That is crazy. You know what else is crazy? Scotty Scheffler.
If you have 83 hot dogs and you don't chew a single one of them, good luck. Good luck afterwards.
I know.
I mean, I'm going to guess they're chewing some.
What time for the missile launch?
Oh, my gosh. If you've had 83 unchewed hot dogs in your system, God bless you.
Torpedoes.
Stay out of my house. That's all I can tell you.
Oh, my God. I still chewed, not chewed. It's mind-boggling. But again, I'm making the segue to Scotty Scheffler, and that's mind-boggling. The dude wins the Tour Championship, wins the FedEx Cup, pockets an additional $25 million, earns on the course 62 point whatever it is million, 62 and change million in one single season. One of the greatest years we've ever seen, aside from Tiger Woods, in PGA Tour history. Check this out. Scotty Scheffler's 2024 PGA Tour earnings alone would place him 9th on the PGA Tour's all-time money list.
Things have changed a little bit money-wise out there on the old tour.
Yeah, I don't want to hear somebody say, well, it's inflation. You know, when Jack won the Masters in 1986, you can get a car for 3 cents. Look, I don't care. 30 years ago, 40 years ago, that's nuts to make that kind of money.
You need to check the Carfax if you're getting the car for 3 cents.
That's just absolutely crazy.
With these elevated tournaments, there's just a lot of money out there to be won. And when you're winning all the time and just throw out a little $25 million bonus on top of it, not bad. Not bad at all.
It got a little interesting on Sunday when Morikawa pulled within 2 shots of Scheffler. And Scheffler had the rare shank. He shanked the shot. He's human. And then I don't know. He didn't show any emotions because he is a robot. And then he, went on to birdie the next 3? At least the next 2. And pulled away. All of a sudden I think it was 25 under, 23 under, and then you blink of an eye, it was 27 under. So that did not sit well with him. He is fabulous, but he has no personality whatsoever. None. I don't know. Does it matter?
I don't. His answering the question about the shank was actually pretty funny.
I didn't hear that. But, I mean, he's coming down. They're announcing his name on the 18th. He doesn't even acknowledge the crowd. I don't think he has much of a personality. And look, let's be honest. Golfers, they usually don't. There are rarities. But he's your guy. He's your face. And I don't know if it's important that you have to have a personality. All people want to see is great shots. And they see great shot after great shot after great shot from Scottie Scheffler.
Certainly he's not. He doesn't care whether people like his personality or dislike.
Of course he doesn't.
I think $62 million is $62 million.
Well, let me ask you this.
He ain't getting paid to be. He doesn't need a bunch of endorsement deals. He's doing just fine.
Let me ask you this. We still have 4 months to go before the end of the 2024 year. And I know there's always people saying, golfers, they're not athletes. Although, for the most part, athletes today are in much better shape than what they were. There's not a lot of Craig Statlers, those kind of guys out there anymore. They're usually well-conditioned. How good an athlete they are overall, I don't know. But I consider them athletes. Is Scottie Scheffler going to run away with the 2024 Athlete of the Year? Like the best sportsman of the year? Or whatever they give out at the end?
He's certainly in that conversation. $62 million and a trip to prison. Pretty good year.
He even mentioned that. He said the year I had, and then the whole thing in Louisville and all that. But, yeah, just absolutely unbelievable for Scottie Scheffler. According to our friend Derek Murray, Bunakibe, or Kibe, I'm not sure how to pronounce that name, 6'10 forward from Gillette Community College, has earned an offer from the University of Memphis. Don't know a lot about him other than he is a big guy, and I have no idea where Gillette Community College is. It's where you learn.
Tom Brady's the president.
Yes, you learn about razor blades.
It's housed in Gillette Stadium. I don't know.
But anyway, Bunakibe, 6'10 forward, according to Derek, has received an offer from the University of Memphis. So we'll see what happens with that. As far as the Tiger basketball, the complete schedule, although we know all the teams are playing in the conference, we know all the teams are playing in non-conference, we know most of the dates, if not all the dates, just the actual release of the official schedule has got to happen, I would think, in the next week. We also still have not found out what they're going to do. I'm going to assume that they're going to have a second exhibition game because I believe they can, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they already have the one set up with Alabama in Huntsville. But we'll see what happens with that second. Maybe that's what they're waiting for.
Matt texted, asked how many pounds of hot dogs is that? What's a pack of hot dogs? What's the weight on what do you get?
Well, let me see. Weight of a hot dog. Let's see.
And I don't know what kind
1.6 ounces.
I don't know what kind of hot dogs they were eating.
Well, they were eating the kind that prevented Kobayashi from competing, weren't they? Oh, no. Nathan's was what kept him out of the Nathan's contest because he was promoting that beefless hot dogs up your alley. So I don't know if they were using Nathan's. They probably weren't using Nathan's. 1.6 ounces is a normal hot dog weight.
So 1.6 ounces. He ate 83 of them.
They said they're sold in packs of 10 because 10 hot dogs weigh about a pound. So that would be 8. How many to eat? 83?
So it would be
8.3 pounds?
Yeah, it would be 8.3 pounds of hot dogs plus buns.
Oh, my God. Do you watch the Man vs. Food on?
No.
Okay. I watch it all the time. Man vs. Food. It used to be Adam Richman, and now it's Casey, whatever his name is. People know what I'm talking about. And he goes to different cities, and he checks out the cuisine, and then there's always some kind of big contest where you it'd be like going up to what's the burger place down here with the big giant burger?
Cookie Canuck.
And challenge that. And he goes up against this stuff, and normally it ends up being like 4.5 pounds of noodles, 4.5 pounds of whatever it is. 4.5. There's always 4.5, maybe 5, maybe 4. And he makes it. Sometimes he gets it done, sometimes he doesn't. It's a good show. It's a fun show. It makes me sick, but it's a fun show.
That's what I look for in my shows. That's what I describe as fun shows, the ones that make me sick.
Well, he's not vomiting or anything. He's not soaking hot dog buns into water. But 8.3 pounds of food, that's not even counting the buns, which is not probably that much more, but it's at least a couple pounds more, I would think. Probably 8.5 pounds of food, 8.5 pounds of food in your gut at one time in 10 minutes. I don't get it. I don't understand. I give him credit. He's doing something that not too many people can do, or at least not do it at his level. Yet how he has not died is beyond me.
Maybe he's a sportsman of the year.
No, I can't go that far.
I just look in disgust.
I'll give in to the golfer. Huh?
I just look in disgust at times when those
well, for you,
food comes on.
For you, it's got to be like that's got to be.
It's just so much.
To watch a man eat over 8 pounds of meat in 10 minutes, and it doesn't make you want to say, you know what, maybe I should try a hot dog. No. Maybe, man, look at that. That looks delicious. I should try one of those things.
Make sure you clear the bathroom for the gentleman.
Hey, so we were asking earlier about G.G. Jackson and about the injury, the broken metatarsal, fifth metatarsal, and how long it could keep him out. We know that the Grizzlies are always very cautious with injuries. They go, it looks like beyond. It seems like beyond other teams. Our buddy Jarvis Greer texted. He said the fifth metatarsal is the bone that sticks out on the outside of your foot, mid-foot. He broke his in spring practice when he played for Memphis back in '78. He said the point can break when you turn your ankle over really badly. All your weight goes on it. Not much blood flow in that area, so it can be slow to heal, but usually okay. Anywhere from 6 weeks to extreme 4 months. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Even if that would be extreme 4 months, it still means he's back. This is not going to be a season-ending injury. It's not a career-ending injury, but it's bad. It's just the fact that it's another damn injury for the Grizzlies.
And Jarvis was in college in '78. Jarvis, you don't look that old.
Hey, pretty soon you're going to say Hall of Famer, Jarvis Greer.
That's great.
Watch your mouth.
He should be.
The real question is, who out there crossed over Jarvo, man?
No, it wasn't basketball. It was football. It's a football player.
Still get crossed over in football.
you can get jocked. Certainly, you can get. But
yeah, hopefully,
I don't know how he got.
Hopefully, everything goes great with Gigi and he comes back at the short end of that. But again, Steven Adams had a 5-week injury that knocked him out for 2 seasons. So I'll believe Gigi's back. Well, I'm not going to anticipate anything. When Gigi's back, I'll be happy to see him back. And that's all that matters. And again, it's not like that's a killer loss to start the year to lose him.
Right.
It was Ja or Desmond, something like that. And then we'd have a little more concern. But losing Gigi at the start of the year, not the end of the world. Now, could it be a sign of things to come like last year? Hopefully not. Hopefully this is just a one-off injury. Everybody else will be able to actually stay healthy.
Right. Like I said earlier, if it's not the big three, I'm certainly not that concerned. But, and the type of injury this is, I'm not that concerned. But please, whatever it is that angered the basketball gods, stop it. We apologize.
You need a tough, reliable tractor to tackle those tough chores? Go see the folks at Mid-South Ag Equipment. They've got exactly what you need with the Case IH Farmall series of tractors. Not only are they versatile performers to take care of whatever you need to get done, but also a great value. So you can cut costs without having to cut corners. At Mid-South Ag Equipment, not only do they have the Case IH Farmall series, but the Bush Hog equipment and much, much more. From new equipment to pre-owned equipment, service on your equipment, they've got it taken care of at Mid-South Ag Equipment. Located at 3044 Highway 302. That's on Goodman Road. It's just south of Collierville. If you take I-269 to the Goodman Road exit, they're just a half mile west. So it's very easy to find, very easy to get to the folks at Mid-South Ag Equipment. Online at midsouthag.com, where you can check out inventory, special deals, get any information that you need. You can also give them a call at 662-890-3141. It is Mid-South Ag Equipment.
When we come back, we're talking SEC football with Blake Topmeyer from USA Today. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Digital resources in place of textbooks and most courses. And that's not all. You'll receive your accredited online education at an affordable tuition with a choice for more than 135 degree and certificate programs. With online and hybrid courses, get everything you need to succeed again. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
Top Gun is the largest indoor range in the Mid-South, but size isn't their only difference. Top Gun has the best instructors with over 300 years combined experience and classes all the way from first shot to master marksmanship. Plus, Top Gun is affordable. Gold membership is just $48 a month. That's just $1.60 a day for unlimited range time. Free gun rentals with purchase of ammo and members lounge access. Top Gun 2770 Witten Road and TopGunMemphis.com. Always shoot with the best. Top Gun Memphis.
Looking for sports in all the wrong places? Try the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland Town Square. Fun, friendly, exciting, and comfortable with wall-to-wall TVs for all your favorite games, 24 taps for all your favorite beers, including NA and local craft beers, and an in-front-of-the-wall full bar for all your other favorite beverages, including a full wine list. And in an upscale menu, patio seating, daily specials, and events, and you found all your sports in the one right place. The Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland Town Square, Highway 70.
Welcome back, everyone. 9:25 is the time. We are once again excited this football season to have the best in the business, the best analysts, the best journalists, to be able to bring you insight each and every week on this show. We get to have a conversation with our good friend Blake Topmeyer every other week during the college football season on Tuesdays. We're excited about that. Blake, of course, the SEC columnist for the USA Today Network. You can follow him on Twitter at @BTopmeyer. Blake joins us now on Sports 56 Mornings. Hey, Blake.
Hey guys, how you doing? How was the holiday?
Everything was good. How about yourself?
Yeah, good. It was nice to have a little bit of a kind of a partial day off during football season, so now back at it today.
So this was interesting. I talked about this to start the show. You look at the SEC Week 1. You have the blowouts, the FBS versus FCS matchups, the 76 points, the 73 points, the 69 points, and on and on and on. But really, there were 5 games that I thought were like big-time matchups, and that included Vanderbilt because they were going up against a team that people think could make a run at the ACC title in Virginia Tech. The other 4, Clemson, Georgia, Miami, Florida, USC, LSU, Notre Dame, Texas A&M. The SEC went 2-3 in those games. So was it a really good weekend, great weekend, average weekend? What was it for the SEC?
I think it was a somewhat disappointing weekend for the SEC, and I think the answer really points to the playoff, because I think coming into the season, we would have said, most people would have said, I would have said, that the SEC will probably get 4 or 5 teams into the playoff. 5 felt like the realistic high end, and I think 4 felt like a pretty realistic floor. I didn't see them getting fewer than 4. After this opening weekend, though, I would say the chances have decreased, not been eliminated, but have decreased of the SEC getting 5 teams into the playoff, and I think that's for two reasons. One, Notre Dame now looks like a very well-positioned playoff team. They beat an SEC team, Texas A&M, so that damages the SEC's reputation a little bit. But more to the point, Notre Dame, with its schedule and what it has ahead of them, I think is very well-positioned to go 12-0 or 11-1. I think either of those, with that road win against A&M, would get Notre Dame into the playoff. And so if Notre Dame's in, that snatches away one of the 7 at-large bids that will be available to everyone. So thereby decreases the chance of the SEC getting 5 teams. On top of that, LSU was a team that I think was sort of going to be a playoff bubble team. I think that's the way a lot of us looked at LSU. They could be a 10-2, 9-3 type of team, and they still could be a 11-1 or 10-2 type of team. But losing their opener against Southern Cal, knowing what they have left on the schedule, I think increases the chances that LSU lands at 9-3 rather than 10-2, taking a playoff team out of the mix for the SEC.
If LSU is out, kind of as that bubble team, is Tennessee would be the kind of the fifth one right now?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, as we sort of week by week kind of reassess the pecking order in these conferences, I think at this point I would have Tennessee with a better playoff chance than LSU, and I think Tennessee's probably in that number 5 seat at the moment. I think the top 4 still are led by Georgia, and then some ordering of Alabama, Ole Miss, Texas. I think those are the 4. If the SEC only gets 4, I think those are the 4 likeliest that it gets. But if the SEC gets a 5th one, obviously still early days, but this is going to be the conversation every week, right, with the 12-team playoff. If the SEC gets a 5th one, I do think Tennessee probably is best positioned at this point for that number 5 spot.
So Iamaleava looked fantastic. They were playing UT Chattanooga. I don't know how much you take out of it. I do know his passes were right on the money in between the numbers. They were seeds. He's got arm strength. But again, what do you take out of beating up on a UT Chattanooga team?
I take some out of it because of the way he looked, not just the numbers. The numbers, I think it's like, okay, then you could say it's an FCS team.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, the arm strength, the accuracy, that's going to translate regardless of opponent. Your arm strength doesn't reduce just because the opponent gets stronger. Maybe the coverage gets better, right? But that arm strength is always going to be an asset. The other thing that really impressed me from what I saw of Nico's performance was he was throwing some darts over the middle of the field. Mm-hmm. And I thought that element of the offense in particular was missing with Joe Milton. We knew Joe could throw it 85 yards. Not many opportunities in a football game to throw it 85 yards down the field. And Joe did some other good things, right? I mean, he could run it some, and he works the perimeter pretty well. But a weakness of Milton's game, I thought, was having the accuracy and the touch to be able to consistently work the middle of the field. And I thought that really prevented Tennessee from being a complete offense last season. From what we saw in a small return here from Nico, he's going to have no hesitancy to work the middle of the field, and Josh Heupel is going to have no hesitancy in putting him in position to make those passes. I felt like at times last year, like Tennessee didn't even want to risk throws over the middle because they just didn't trust Milton's accuracy and touch to be able to work that sector of the field. So overall, I do think this is a promising sign about Nico's future, about Tennessee's future. Certainly it is worth taking it with a grain of salt because of the opponent, but some of the skills we're talking about I do think will translate to later games.
NC State had their struggles with Western Carolina before they were finally able to put that away. Do you expect Tennessee to go into Charlotte and roll over NC State?
I think Tennessee wins. What that looks like, I'm not sure, but I feel like after week one, we all sort of reassessed what we thought about these teams based on what we've seen in a small sample size. And I guess based on this small sample, I feel a little bit better about Tennessee and a little bit not as good about NC State. And I already thought Tennessee, was probably about a one touchdown favorite, in that matchup anyway. So, yeah, I mean, I think Tennessee winning by double digits would not surprise me at all. I think at this point it would probably be something of an upset, something of a surprise if Tennessee loses that game. Now, the question to me that still wasn't answered in the opener is how good is Tennessee's defense? And, we talk about some of these skills from Nico that I think will translate, but playing defense against an FCS opponent, even a good one, which Chattanooga, could be, that's different than going up against a Power 4 team. And my concern with Tennessee coming into the season was their secondary. And I don't think an FCS game really answers that question yet of whether the secondary is better than what I thought they'd be or whether there are, in fact, reasons why a lot of people, myself included, had concerns about that secondary. So I think that's the information, more about that defense that I think we'll learn against NC State. I think Nico and the offense are going to be fine against this opponent.
Blake Topmeyer, SEC columnist for the USA Today Network. You can follow him on Twitter at @BTopmeyer. He's joining us on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest lines. Oh, speaking of defenses and secondary, LSU last year was a disaster. High expectations going into this season that they're much improved defensively. Looked that way in the first half against USC, but I thought they just were not good in the second half against Miller Moss. Miller Moss was picking them apart. So I don't know how improved LSU's defense is, and for them to really make a legitimate run at a playoff spot, that defense has to be improved. Where do you think they are?
I think their defense is going to be maybe slightly above average, which would be an improvement. I mean, last year's defense was an absolute disaster. But I think I don't think this is going to be a great defense. I think it's going to be a slightly above average defense. And so for LSU, if it wants to get into playoff contention with a slightly above average defense, I think the offense has to be more explosive. Like Garrett Nussmeier overall got some rave reviews about his start, and I thought he looked good, and I think he's going to be a quality quarterback. The thing I question, though, is LSU had very few explosive plays. I mean, they were relying on long drives to score, and there toward the end of that game, fourth quarter, they weren't able to engineer some of those long drives that they needed to put the game away. When we think back to last season and what was really the best offense in the country, I think, from LSU, Jaden Daniels and those perimeter receivers, Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas, those guys were big play machines. I mean, Daniels could take off and run for 35-yard gains, or he could hit Neighbors and Thomas downfield for 40-yard strikes. They could score in a hurry. They didn't have to rely, on 17-play drives to score. And we didn't see that big play potential from LSU for whatever reason in this opener. I don't know if USC's defense is just that much improved. I have questions about that. I think USC's defense is better. I don't think it's going to be as good as some of the defenses LSU will face inside the SEC. So Yeah, I think my concerns with LSU are twofold. I do think it's an above-average defense, but it's not a great defense. You're not going to be able to get to the playoff just based on that defense. I still think they need an explosive offense if this is going to be a playoff team. Liked what I saw out of Nussmeier, except not a ton of big play potential, and I don't see that in LSU's running game either.
There's a lot of questions about how long Sam Pittman might last, maybe just even through the season. Arkansas at Oklahoma State. They're coming off the 70-0 win over Pine Bluff. Who cares? How much chance do you give Arkansas on the road in Stillwater?
Yeah, it's tough to say because I just don't have a good read on this Arkansas team at this moment because of so much change in the offseason, new quarterback, new coordinator, and I don't think we learned much of anything against Arkansas Pine Bluff. Probably one of the weakest opponents any SEC team faced in week one. So I think this game is maybe as much as any other going to tell us the tale of the tape about a particular SEC team this week. I mean, Oklahoma State, we know they're one of the best teams in the Big 12, but I think in the SEC, Oklahoma State would still be a pretty good team, but point being, Arkansas will face other teams like Oklahoma State throughout the rest of the schedule. This is not going to be the toughest team they're going to face this year, as good as Oklahoma State is in the Big 12. So, if Arkansas wins, I think that's an encouraging sign that Pittman has made some improvements within his staff, within his roster, and might be able to survive the season. If Arkansas gets crushed, I mean, I think prepare the final curtain for Sam Pittman. I'm afraid if Arkansas gets crushed on Saturday, I don't know that Sam Pittman makes it to Halloween because of the way his contract is structured. At some point, if the losses pile up here in the next several weeks, that reduced buyout is going to kick in. So, huge game for Sam Pittman, and that's not a duck in the question. I don't know what to think of Arkansas at this point because I don't think we really probably learned too much out of that FCS game.
Hey, Blake, going into the season, I looked at Auburn as a team that is probably a year away, especially the way Hugh is recruiting, but could give anybody fits on any given Saturday. I know, again, another game where you can't get much out of, you can't take much out of a demolition of Alabama A&M, but could Auburn be better than I think this year?
They might be, and if they are, I think it's because of the upgrades they made at wide receiver. I still think they have an average quarterback in Peyton Thorne, but better wide receivers make an average quarterback look better, and bad wide receivers make an average quarterback look worse, right? And a problem with Auburn the last several seasons, whether it be the 2-year Brian Harsin era or the start of the Hugh Freeze era, was they didn't really have much at wide receiver. They weren't giving their quarterbacks any help. And I think Auburn is much better at wide receiver this year. I still think they could have used a quarterback upgrade. I think if they would have upgraded at quarterback, we might have viewed them more as like a fringe playoff contender. And that's probably the reason we don't, is because they have the same quarterback. We've seen a lot of Peyton Thorne, whether it be at Auburn or Michigan State. We sort of feel like we know what he is at this point. But I do think Auburn's going to play some defense. They always do. When you look at that team this year, I don't see why that would change. In the front seven in particular, Auburn's got athletes, as usual, and they have running backs, as usual. The question with Auburn coming into the year was, can they be better at quarterback? Can they be better at wide receiver? I think they are better at wide receiver, and I think that will make them better at quarterback just by nature of having better guys to sling it to. So I do think Auburn's a dangerous team. I don't think they're a playoff team, but I don't think that they're a team that anyone's excited about having on their schedule. They could beat really almost anyone on their schedule, I think, on a given day.
What do you think happens with Texas and Michigan?
I guess I like Texas still better than Michigan coming out of week one and kind of felt that way going into week one. I didn't see anything out of Texas against Colorado State that gives me too much reason to dial down my expectations for them. I mean, they don't just have one good quarterback; they have two. The biggest issue with Texas this year might be sort of quieting the fan angst and managing this situation with two really talented quarterbacks. At some point, is Sark going to feel like he has to make a change to Arch Manning? I don't know. Coaches usually don't like to make a quarterback swap when they feel like they got a quality veteran, which is what Quinn Ewers is. But I mean, Texas almost has too much of a good thing if that's if there is such a thing when it comes to quarterbacks. So I like Texas. Michigan sort of took a while to get going in its opener. But road game, that could tend to favor the home team, obviously. So overall, I think I like Texas coming into the season in this game. I still do, and I'm fascinated to see what they do long term with this quarterback deal, because I think every sample size we've gotten of Arch Manning is he's a pretty talented guy, and he's got that last name too that,
and that
people just won't ignore. So long term, I'm curious to see how that plays out between Quinn Ewers, who's also a very good quarterback, and Arch.
All right, final thing for you. Bama, debut of Kalen DeBoer, looked fantastic. I know Western Kentucky's not a juggernaut, but they usually can score, and they shut him out. Milroe looked real good. They get USF. This is a team that I think's pretty good. And I know last year they gave Alabama fits. I'm not saying that will happen in Tuscaloosa, but a good start for Alabama moving on under Kalen DeBoer taking over for Saban. Just a great start to the season, in my opinion.
I think so, too. I think it was really encouraging how explosive the offense was. I thought that might be an instant improvement in the change from Saban and coordinator Tommy Rees to Kalen DeBoer. I think with another year of development and a coaching change, I think that's going to help Jalen Milroe. I think he's going to look like a different quarterback this year than he was last year. And already, by the end of last season, he was already a different quarterback than he was as compared to last September. But I think where Jalen Milroe was in the Rose Bowl is nowhere near his ceiling. I've maybe I'll be proven wrong, but I've bought into this guy, and part of the reason I've bought into him is I trust what DeBoer can do with quarterbacks, and I think Milroe is an incredibly talented guy. We know what he can do with his athleticism and his legs, but I think he has a great arm too. Yeah. In terms of explosive plays, downfield passing ability, which we know is so important in college football. The best teams usually have that ability to score in chunk plays. Jalen Milroe throws a great deep ball. And I think, Kalen DeBoer is going to let that loose. He's going to let loose his running ability. And down to down, pass to pass, I think that's where Jalen Milroe might show some growth, not just be that deep ball artist who can take off and run, but be there a little bit more play to play and those third and medium situations. So, I think it is tempting to be like, well, everything's going to be fine under DeBoer. Who is that Nick Saban guy? But I don't know if we're doing that quite. But I do think small sample size, DeBoer proved what he thought he was, what we thought he was, which is a really good coach who has a great touch with offense and quarterbacks. We saw nothing in week one to suggest otherwise. And if I was an Alabama fan, I'd be pretty darn excited by that offense.
He is Blake Topmeyer, SEC columnist for the USA Today Network. You can follow him on Twitter at @BTopmeyer. He's on with us every other Tuesday. So back on the 17th, talking SEC football, talking college football in general. Make sure to read all his great stories at USA Today. Thank you, Blake.
Okay, good talking to you guys.
Take care.
Over at Genesis Diamonds, one thing you'll always find when you go in there is there's always something new, something fresh. They're constantly bringing in new things in there. It's all the inventory continues to turn over, and you've got, with diamonds, bringing in fresh cuts straight from the world's best cutters, every size that you can imagine, every shape, everything you can imagine, and they're constantly getting new stuff for you to check out. Plus, with their designer jewelry, they've got all the top designers from New York, L.A., and everywhere, and they're always on the cutting edge, so there's always new stuff coming in. So if you haven't been in Genesis Diamonds for maybe a couple of weeks, you go in there, you're going to see a lot of new stuff. They're constantly turning over that inventory with new stuff that's coming in. So you've got always new selections for you to choose from when you go see them at Genesis Diamonds. Great quality, great selection, great value, great service. You get it all at Genesis Diamonds, whether it be with that jewelry, the pre-owned Rolex watches that they have there with a massive selection of those as well. Check them out. Genesis Diamonds, Pop Poplar and Perkins Extended.
One segment to go. We'll come back, talk some NFL odds for the opening week of the season, and also college football week number 2. We'll give you some numbers as well. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Spencer here with ATC Fitness. There's no better time of the year than now. Football and fitness go hand in hand in the fall. And with individual screens on each piece of cardio and multiple big screens throughout the rest of the club, you'll never miss a bit of the action watching your favorite team. ATC Fitness continues to be the Mid-South's choice for fitness, family-owned for 30 years, and proud supporters of Coach Silverfield and the Memphis Tigers. Join online at atcfitness.com. ATC Fitness. Exercise your right to look good.
Guns, guns, and more guns. Over 700 firearms in stock. Home defense guns, old guns, new guns, used guns, big guns, little guns. Every gun you can think of, Classic Arms has them. All brands like Glock, Sig, Colt, Ruger, Smith & Wesson, Browning, Beretta, Benelli, Remington, Winchester, and more. Guaranteed lowest prices in town. Only gun importer in the Mid-South. Free gun inspections and appraisals and free bore sighting for the upcoming deer season. Shop online at ClassicArmsOfMemphis.com or visit Classic Arms at 1740 Germantown Parkway behind Quirky's Barbecue in Cordova.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at TriumphAutoSales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 9:48 the time. Again, tomorrow we'll make our NFL picks for the season. But for week number 1, which kicks off tomorrow, you got the Ravens and the Chiefs, so the defending champion Chiefs. Then Friday, you have the game in Sao Paulo, Brazil, with the Packers and the Eagles. Full slate on Sunday, including a Sunday night game that features the Steelers and the Falcons, I believe. Is that right? No, that can't be right. It is the Rams and the Lions. That's who it is. And then Monday Night Football, the Jets and the 49ers. And if you missed the news from earlier, looks like they're going to get that deal with Trent Williams done and should be ready to go for Monday night. The guy has made the Pro Bowl 11 straight years. He's pretty good. Even at what now, 35, 36?
Somewhere around there.
Still really good. So the Chiefs are a 3-point favorite over the Ravens. The Eagles are a 3-point favorite over the Packers. And then on Sunday, Texans 2.5 over the Colts in Indy. Interesting. Bills 6-point favorite over the Cardinals at home. Bengals an 8.5-point favorite over the Patriots. Patriots, can't imagine, will be even close to good, unfortunately for Gerard Mayo in his first year, but still don't know the situation with Jamar Chase for the Bengals. Vikings and the Giants. Giants, another team that should be putrid this year. Minnesota, 1.5-point road favorite. Titans will open up with the Bears. We'll have more on the Titans tomorrow when Teresa Walker joins us. Chicago, a 4-point favorite. Caleb Williams' debut. It's also the debut of Brian Callahan, friend of the show, the Titans head coach. Panthers and Saints in New Orleans. New Orleans a 4-point favorite. Atlanta is a 3-point favorite over the Steelers. Pittsburgh starting Russell Wilson. We'll see how long that goes. I like Atlanta this year. Miami a 3.5-point favorite over the Jaguars. The Chargers and the Raiders. The debut of Jim Harbaugh as head coach of the Chargers. They are a 3-point favorite over the Raiders. Seahawks a 6-point favorite over the Broncos. Browns and your Cowboys. Cleveland a 2.5-point favorite. Can Deshaun Watson figure it out?
We shall see.
Buccaneers and the Commanders in Tampa. Tampa's a 3.5-point favorite. Lions and Rams. Lions a 3.5-point favorite at home. Then that Monday night game, the 49ers, a 4.5-point favorite over the New York Jets. And the return of Aaron Rodgers.
See if he can make it a little longer this season.
Was it 2 plays or 3 plays last year?
I remember if it was the 3rd or 4th play.
Look, I don't care if you hate a certain team or despise a certain team. Don't like to use the H word. You don't like Aaron Rodgers. I mean, anybody who wishes injury on somebody, something wrong with you. Something mentally wrong with you. I hope Aaron Rodgers is healthy. I'd like to see what he can do. Aaron Rodgers is a Hall of Fame quarterback. He's not Tom Brady. And coming off an Achilles injury, there's a lot of high expectations. I don't know how you can make them that high for a guy that's coming off that type of an injury. Defensively, they should be good. Salah's got a good defense. But if it doesn't work with Rodgers, Salah, Woody Johnson's getting rid of all of them. It'll all be over. And Rodgers isn't even under contract beyond this year, right? Didn't he sign a 2-year deal?
I'm not sure on that. Congratulations to the Chicago White Sox. They've now got an 11-game losing streak to go with they have the 3 longest losing streaks in Major League Baseball this year. That's hard to do.
Not if you're the White Sox.
But they have pulled it off with flying colors. They are now 39 games out of 4th place in their division.
So you're saying there's a chance?
I mean, it's like, it is truly like unbelievable how bad they are.
Well, what are they? They're 10 away from the all-time record? With
They got 31 wins still. 31s, and they're at 31 and sticking.
Okay. What is it they have? I'm trying to remember what was like 23 games left, and they're going to have to win.
They've got 23 games.
23 games, and they're going to have to win 10 of them or 13 of them. I can't remember.
42 is the number that I believe is they got to try and get to.
Okay, 42 would tie it?
I think so, yes.
So, and they're at right now they're at 31?
Yeah.
So 11, they got to go 11 and 12. There's no way they're going 11 and 12.
They might go 0 and
23.
23. Like